Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this afternoon's live commentary coverage of the Forever 400 for the NASCAR Cup Series at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. We have our full flag-to-flag coverage for the third time for you guys here this weekend. The Truck and Xfinity Series races wrapped up yesterday, and for today's race, we have the third-to-last Cup Series Sunday of the season. We'll go through the starting lineup for today's race here in a matter of moments, but I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in here this afternoon. Excuse me, I have a frog in my throat right now, so apologize for that. But regardless of the fact that we are going to go on with today's show as scheduled, this is a playoff race, and it is very deep into the playoffs. So we'll check out the point standings before we get into the starting lineup for this one. As you see, Kyle Larson winning last weekend at Las Vegas has locked himself into the championship four. Behind him, though, very tight points battle for those final three spots to get into the championship four with Larson at Phoenix in just 2 weeks' time. William Byron, 9 points to the good. Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin both only 2 points above the cutoff line. Their teammate Christopher Bell is minus 2 points. Tyler Reddick, another Toyota driver, at minus 16 points, followed by Ryan Blaney, who was DQ'd and then got the disqualification revoked. He got his points back for both the stages last weekend as well as the race finish, getting a top 10. He is only 17 points below the cutoff line, and even Chris Buescher, the number 8 seed, still very much could point his way into the championship four at only minus 23 points with 2 races to go in the round. Wild scenario coming into today's race. A lot of those playoff drivers qualifying for the most part in the top half of the field. But even with that being said, passing is going to be at a premium, as we know, with the next-gen car and how equal all these teams are from top to bottom in the field. Although with the passing not really being on full display with this race car, this might be the best opportunity on a non-super speedway to make passes throughout the field. A multi-groove racetrack with a ton of tire fall-off from what we have seen in the first 2 races so far this weekend. We have seen fall-off of about 30 laps time, 3 to 4 seconds worth of fall-off. It might not be that prevalent in today's Cup Series race, but you can pretty much guarantee that tires will matter, strategy will matter, when to pit is going to matter, as far as not only who is going to win the race today, but as well as the stage points and the stages awarding those points to the playoff drivers, again, when it matters the most. So, again, you looked at the standings coming into the race today. In fact, all the pre-race ceremonies are already over very quickly as well, as we are just moments away from the drop of the green flag. They've already given the command to fire engines, and they are checking pit road times as we speak. So as we're just a couple pace laps away from the start of the Forever 400, here is your starting lineup for the race. Martin Truex Jr. going to be starting on the pole in this one. Bubba Wallace to the outside of the front row, still looking for his first win of the year, but a very good opportunity to do so, as his last win came at Kansas last year in the playoffs on a 1.5-mile racetrack. Tyler Reddick and Brad Keselowski will line up in row 2. Reddick is my pick to win the race today, and I think he's going to be pretty quick. Keselowski also still looking for his first win of the season. Kyle Larson and Austin Dillon in row 3. Dillon, the highest qualifying driver of those that missed the playoffs entirely, and Larson, as mentioned, was last week's winner at Las Vegas. He also is the defending winner of this race as well, as he won this race a season ago. William Byron and Ross Chastain will be in row 4. Ty Gibbs and Ryan Blaney in row 5. Denny Hamlin, Alex Bowman in row 6. Christopher Bell, Daniel Suarez, row 7. Michael McDowell, Chase Elliott, row 8. Chris Buescher, Kyle Busch in row 9. Eric Jones, Corey LaJoie in row 10. Chase Briscoe, Kevin Harvick in row number 11. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., John Hunter Nemechek in the 42 car this week in row 12. Row 13, AJ Allmendinger and Austin Cindric. In row 14 is going to be Justin Haley and Harrison Burton. Ryan Preece and Eric Almirola in row 15. JJ Yeley, Todd Gilliland in row 16. Row 17 is going to be Ty Dillon and Ryan Newman back in the 51 for Rickware Racing this weekend. Josh Bilicki, Joey Logano going to round out the 36-car field today. Logano in a backup car for this race. For more pre-race updates, here is the NBC crew. You can watch the race on the local NBC affiliate for the flag-to-flag visual coverage, but of course we will have the live commentary coverage for you on the stream from the drop of the green flag again to the checker, and a brief post-race show following the finish of today's race.
On pit road, we see a lot of problems here trying to get on pit road. Drivers not being able to see their pit box, as we see Martin Truex Jr. get spun around in his box last year. So anything can happen here on this racetrack when the sun's in your eyes. You got to be on top of your game. You got to have that windshield covered just right so that sun's not bothering you off into turn 1. Thanks, Junior. And up front, we saw him earlier, but Mr. 305, who is now Mr. Worldwide Pitbull, is the honorary pace car rider. He is inside there. And congratulations to him. Just dropped his most recent album last week, I believe, Trackhouse.
And you hear him with the drivers, with Jeff. I mean, he can give me a pep talk anytime. I think he comes in energized and on fire.
I like Rapido. He was really fired up when he was chatting with those guys. So a good time. And how about another pep talk? This one from the 45 team.
Same thing all day. We'll be in good shape. Ready? Let's have fun, guys. Great track for us. Cars got speed. Still with we know best. Let's go out there and have fun.
Go out and have fun. Hamburglar on the hood of the 45 of Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, Grimace right in front. Some popular paint schemes. Good-looking cars. You talk about different marketing and ways to do it. Two great-looking cars from 2311. We'll see if they are as fast as they look.
You got to be fast if you're the Hamburglar. And Grimace. We've seen great things already this weekend out of Bubba Wallace. Can he continue that trend as we get ready?
Pace cars pulling on the pit road. The green flag is about to wave, and the Forever 400 is underway at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Martin Truex Jr. going to lead the field to the green and down into turn 1 after electing the outside lane for this initial start. William Byron going to pull to the inside of his teammate Kyle Larson to go 3 wide into the first turn. Austin Dillon towards the outside of that groove. Dillon getting a pretty good launch, so we'll get in front of both those Hendrick cars. Still 3 wide out of his rearview mirror behind him for about 6th place. And out in front of the field is going to be Bubba Wallace getting out in front of the pole sitter Martin Truex Jr. Truex back to the inside lane looking to take over the lead from Wallace, who cuts to the middle groove. Not going to give Truex a whole lot of room on the bottom and not going all the way to the top in the early going. Doesn't matter. Truex, despite not having the lead off turn 2, is still going to lead the first lap of the race by less than half a car length at the line. Bubba Wallace still on the outside of the 19 as they're door-to-door for the race lead through turns 1 and 2. Behind them, about a 4 or 5 car length gap is Brad Keselowski, Austin Dillon in 4th, and Tyler Reddick rounds out the top 5 off the start here. Again, Truex in the lead, Bubba Wallace in 2nd as of the start-finish line through that first lap. In turns 3 and 4, Truex down on that white line again. Wallace a little bit more tighter to Truex's door, trying to side draft a little bit on corner entry. Widens the exit out, trying to get a little bit more run off the banking of the corner. Again, progressive banking, 18 degrees towards the bottom of the racetrack, 20 degrees at the top, allowing for a little bit more speed on the outside lane, more grip over the course of the tire wear throughout the run. And you have to imagine that these two running side by side for the lead here for the entirety of these first 2.5 laps of the race, as they are still door-to-door into turn 3, lap 3, that they have to be using their tires up just a little bit more than that of Keselowski and Reddick, who are single file still in 3rd and 4th place behind them. And already pretty much working their way to the outside lane as well. Truex doing a really good job on the bottom. Is not going to be able to stay alongside Wallace this time into turn 1. And Bubba will pull down to that bottom lane that Truex was using. Truex now to the outside through turns 1 and 2, trying to build that momentum back up. Getting a nice run at Wallace on the back straightaway, but not close enough to be able to pull out a line and make the pass on him here. He's going to stay in that middle to upper groove. Wallace going to do the same thing. Truex just a little bit wider through 3 and 4. But it looks like Bubba's still going to remain out in front of the field here at the end of lap number 4. So Truex was able to lead a lap in that transition period of running side by side for the lead. Bubba Wallace was able to lead the other laps of this race pretty much. He has led all but the first lap. Truex led that first lap by half a car length and by a nose pretty much at the start-finish line was Wallace the next 2 laps, and then fully clear the last 2 times by at the line. Truex, though, going back for the race lead again through 3 and 4. Really good battle for the lead here in the opening laps between these two Toyotas. At the front of the field, again, Truex to the inside. Really showing the speed of that race car that maybe if he can get by the 23, he can pull away with the clean air advantage. To the bottom again. Wallace chases him down. Truex again trying to slide off the bottom. And just can't clear the 23 car for probably the upteenth time, really, in these opening laps. Wallace going to drive it in much deeper, getting into the corner in that outside lane. Gets at the stick. Truex getting really tight now, all the way up the racetrack. Barely keeps it off the wall and loses about 4 to 5 car lengths behind Wallace off turn 4 this time. Enough so that Brad Keselowski will now pull to the inside of the 19 car for 2nd place into turn 1. Keselowski's slide job maneuver is not going to pan out for him as well, as he is going to have to stay in line behind Truex on the back straightaway. Try to get the momentum back up again, and we all of a sudden have a 3-car battle for the lead, all within a half a second of each other as of the start-finish line that last time by. Truex has worked himself to the outside lane, running as close to the wall as possible through turns 3 and 4, trying to mount a charge after Wallace for the 3rd time. Ryan Blaney's made his way into the top 5 off the start as well, battling William Byron right now, who has caught back up to him again. Blaney has gained a handful of positions from the start of the race. Still remaining side by side through turns 1 and 2 with the 24 of Byron, who can't quite slide up clear. Each of the top 7 cars in the picture for the lead, all within 1.3 seconds of each other at the front of the field. Mentioned that there was a lot of tire fall off in the yesterday races of the Xfinity and Truck Series. Again, 3 to 4 seconds of fall off over just a 30-lap run. And so far in today's race, we're 9 laps in, and there's already been a second and a half of tire fall off. The race leader, Bubba Wallace, right now, his fastest lap on lap 2 of a 32.678. His last lap that he just ran on lap 9 was a 34.371. So 1.7 seconds of fall off in just 9 green flag laps at this racetrack. Blaney was passed by William Byron a lap or 2 ago as well, and now Byron is starting to go after Tyler Reddick for the 4th place position. Kyle Larson gets by Blaney on the outside lane through turns 3 and 4 this time by as well, moving Kyle Larson now up to P6. Byron still attacking Reddick to the inside through turns 1 and 2. Byron, a winner at Homestead already in his career. Go back to the 2021 race when it was in the springtime. William Byron was able to get that win that day. At the time, it was just his 2nd career win. And you fast forward to this year, and he's about tripled that total in this season alone. So although Wallace leads, he is by no means pulled away. And in fact, Martin Truex Jr. with a hard charge through the middle lane. Didn't look like he was going to have a chance to get underneath him that corner from how far back he was. We can definitely tell he's got more on throttle time in the center of the corner, because he does pull to the inside of Wallace, is able to side draft him on the backstretch, take another launch angle to the inside into turns 1 and 2 as he tries to make the pass. Wallace widens his lane out this time. Any other lap, we've seen the 19 and the 23 side-by-side for the lead. Wallace has been right on the door of the 19, trying to keep him from getting back into the gas as soon as possible. He goes all the way to the outside this time, and Truex still couldn't clear him. Center turns 1 and 2. Truex has plenty of room to slide up, and finally, Martin Truex Jr. is going to take over the race lead at lap 12. Byron with a slide job off turn 2 is going to clear the 6 of Keselowski. He pulls the crossover now, and the battle for 3rd place is getting intense into turn 3. Kyle Larson, after passing Blaney momentarily, is going after Tyler Reddick for 5th. And he's clear off turn 4. Larson to the top 5 for the first time. And both the Hendrick cars of William Byron and Kyle Larson closing up fast to the 2 Toyotas at the front of the field. Truex might have waited a little bit too long to get by Bubba Wallace, because that has allowed for time for William Byron now to make his way up to 3rd, and he's within a half a second of the lead, passing Keselowski for the 2nd consecutive lap off turn 2, and also for the 2nd consecutive lap, Keselowski's going to get right back by him through turns 3 and 4. He doesn't go all the way to the bottom, he goes more towards the middle this time by. Wanted to slide up in front of Byron, but he couldn't do it because Wallace was right there as they closed in on the 23 car as well, and Keselowski may be able to get 2 positions in 2 corners. He's going to do it. Keselowski up to 2nd. Problems, looks like, for Kevin Harvick potentially. Never mind, it was just a pre-race. I showed him getting through the gears, and I was like, okay, that's not good. No, Harvick's in 23rd. That's what happens when the race volume's muted and I'm just yelling over myself, trying to give you guys commentary. Appreciate everybody tuning in this afternoon, though. We'll go through a full field running order rundown for the first time today at lap 15 in this one. Wild start to this race. A lot of movement through in the top 5 or 6 positions in the running order. Martin Truex Jr. holds a 4/10 of a second lead for right now, though, over Brad Keselowski in 2nd. William Byron is in 3rd. Kyle Larson 4th. Bubba Wallace 5th. Tyler Reddick in 6th. 7th place is Ryan Blaney. Denny Hamlin 8th. Austin Dillon 9th. Christopher Bell 10th. Kyle Busch at 11th. Ross Chastain 12th. Daniel Suarez 13th. Michael McDowell 14th. Corey LaJoie 15th. AJ Allmendinger in 16th. 17th place is Alex Bowman. Chase Elliott 18th. Ty Gibbs 19th. Eric Jones 20th. Chris Buescher's dropped to 21st. Austin Cindric 22nd. Kevin Harvick 23rd. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 24th. And Harrison Burton is 25th. Eric Almirola in 26th. Ryan Preece 27th. Joey Logano 28th. Chase Briscoe 29th. Ty Dillon is 30th. 31st is John Hunter Nemechek. Ryan Newman 32nd. Justin Haley 33rd. Ty Gillen 34th. J.J. Haley 35th. I'll make that Josh Bilicki now 35th. And J.J. Haley is in 36th. So all 36 cars still in the lead lap on lap 16 within 17.4 seconds of the race leader, Martin Truex Jr. Truex about another 10th quicker than Keselowski that last lap as well. Quick shout-outs to those of you watching this stream right now. Zavi De Roe Racer, Terry Lewis, Ace Alshire, Villanora, Willie Bowen, Joanne C., JD, thanks for tuning in, everybody. JoJo, the Hungry One, Wade Selinsky, AJ Summers, Ethan Chua, Tim Brown. Everybody, welcome to the stream. Be sure to hit that like button if you guys have not done so yet. Up to 25 likes in the early minutes of this stream. And also, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we're on the road to 5,000 subs, trying to get there before the end of the NASCAR season. Time is running out to get there. That was the preseason goal when we started the streaming schedule back in the LA Clash at the Coliseum in early February. At the time, I think I had just less than 2,000 subscribers. So what a ride it has been, honestly, this year. Appreciate everybody's support throughout the course of the season. But let's see if we can get to 5,000 before the end of the year. I really want to hit that number. And you guys, again, have knocked it out of the park, showing up every single weekend for these live commentary streams. So greatly appreciate it.
The members of the American Medical Response Safety Team, Baptist Health, Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, Florida Highway Patrol, Florida Power and Light, Next Era Energy, Homestead Air Reserve Base, Homestead-Miami Speedway Track Services Safety Team, Homestead Police Department, and Miami-Dade Fire Rescue. Please join Verizon in thanking first responders for all they do for us every day. Mark Truex Jr. now has the 24 of William Byron fighting him for the lead here at Homestead-Miami as Byron making the move to the inside.
Yeah, he's using that bottom groove, and saw this a little bit yesterday in the Xfinity race. Several cars able to work the bottom of the racetrack, even down here in 3 and 4, where we've seen the top of 3 and 4 be dominant. The 24 making a little bit of ground. Let's maintain it right there. Going to be able to clear the 19. A car that can work on the bottom of this racetrack is a pretty special thing. You rarely see it. You see a lot of cars be able to go find speed against the wall. Not everyone can run that bottom and make it work.
Surprisingly, as we had watched Bubba Wallace get out there and run and lead 9 laps, he has fallen all the way back to 7.
Yeah, it looked like that car was having a little grip issue with the back solid back moving around. Let's see if we can ride on board here with Denny Hamlin with the Coca-Cola can on the roof of this 11 car. So you're going to get a little bit tight right there in the wake of the 23, having to be patient on the throttle, losing a little bit of time with Bubba. Don't really see any real problems with the 23 right there, but the back end of that car, before we went to commercial, a little bit of movement.
Well, the other thing to think about and remember about this racetrack is it is not uncommon to see a car run really well early and then struggle late, or vice versa. We've seen cars late in runs be massively faster than others, and that's just that setups, that's driver style, a lot of things can influence that.
You can definitely start with very low air pressures, and that's going to cost you a little speed firing off, but really will help that car in the long run. If you want to fire off faster, you put a little bit of air in the tires. We're talking a quarter pound, half a pound to get the car to take off better on restarts, but you're going to give a little bit of time, lap time back on the long run as we're watching this 19 car struggling, losing a few more spots here. Brad Keselowski gets by. Here's with Larson on the bottom of the racetrack.
As we've gone now 22 laps, they've fallen off almost 3 seconds now a lap. So handling such a huge issue here as these tires continue to wear away. And the furthest back of the playoff drivers running is Buescher, and he's all the way back at 27th, Kim.
That's right. Right now, that car has no maneuverability. He said he can't run anywhere except for the bottom. The other thing that was concerning to Cookie Scott Green when this team went into this race was their fire off speed. He felt like that was going to be their biggest struggle, is finding that balance between fire
that's the challenge, right? Because a car would take off better if you started with more air pressure, but starts with more, they balloon up, and it would hurt you on the back end. So that's not really a great option. When I hear fire off speed, I really want to know why. Is it front grip, rear grip, or overall grip? I need to know more than just we're not good early in a run. That might kind of unlock the key to what I would adjust. The other thing I would do is look at my teammate. Brad Keselowski's running second in that 6 car. RFK, I think, as a 2-car organization all year long has been as similar on the racetrack as any team, and yet here we are in the playoffs. Brad is second, Busher 27th. We really haven't seen that out of the organization all year.
And Chris Busher and that team, when the playoffs have started, they just have not been able to break the speed that they were earlier in the playoffs. We talked about it in the pre-race, guys. They're going to have to find a way if they're going to advance.
25 laps complete on lap 26. Steve, you mentioned around lap 40, those green flag pit stops could be starting.
So there you have it. Green flag pit stops may be coming up on the other side of the commercial break. Right now, William Byron has taken the race lead away a moment ago, away from Martin Truex Jr. Truex has already dropped to 4th place during the course of this run. We'll blow through the top 10 positions in the running order real quick and then take our first ad break of the race. So William Byron up by 0.7 of a second over Brad Keselowski in second. Under heavy pressure from Kyle Larson, who's a 2.5 off the lead in third. Martin Truex Jr. 2.5 seconds back in fourth, and Tyler Reddick still rounds out the top 5 at 2.9 seconds off the lead. Ryan Blaney's in 6th place, 3.8 seconds back. Denny Hamlin, 4.7 seconds off the lead in 7th. Bubba Wallace has fallen to 8th place, 6.9 seconds off the lead. Austin Dillon still in the top 10 in 9th place at 9.1 seconds back. And Christopher Bell rounds out the top 10. He is 9.6 seconds behind the race leader, William Byron. So that is the intervals and your top 10 between those positions so far. You're listening live to the Forever 400 at Homestead Miami Speedway on KRC. Once again, like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We'll keep our live commentary coverage rolling for this race. Yogi Crawford, also welcome to the stream. Frank Powers, welcome in. Dean Harshberger, also welcome to the stream. See a couple of you in the chat. I'll enlarge the screen a little bit for you guys for the leaderboard side of things, so hopefully that helps. So list of where the playoff drivers are running then so far in Stage 1. William Byron leading the way. If you win, you advance to the next round. Larson has already won in this round, so he is in the Championship 4. But William Byron not in front right now, trying to make it 200 cars in the Championship 4. Martin Truex Jr. is in 4th place. I mentioned Kyle Larson's name already. He's in 3rd. Tyler Reddick in 5th. Ryan Blaney in 6th. Denny Hamlin 7th. Christopher Bell in 10th. Chase Elliott, who is still running for the Owners' Championship for the number 9 team, is in 17th place. Chris Busher is in 28th, the furthest back of any of the playoff drivers that are still contending for the championship, both for the owner's standings and or the driver's standings. Lap times continue to fall off from where they were at its fastest. In fact, the fastest car on the racetrack that last time by was 5th place Tyler Reddick, who dropped to 34.981. He was the only driver to have a lap time in the 34-second lap barrier. 35-second lap time, was what William Byron just ran, which is 2.1 seconds slower than his fastest lap of the race, which was a 32.984 back on lap 2. Got some green flag pit stops going on right now. Kyle Busch is in.
Those 4 fresh tires are going to be a huge advantage, 2 or 3 seconds a lap, so this should instantly generate some concern by the rest of the field. I expect everybody to come in a 2 or 3 lap window as we see Byron right here continue to lead Keselowski. Now we have the 3-car Austin Dillon on pit road as well, and it's going to open up the funnel. Busy on pit road. As we see Brad head to the bottom of the racetrack, wouldn't surprise him if he's coming to pit road. Yeah, there you go. He's slowing down. Hard left-hand turn. Shows you just how tough it is to get on this pit road, Kim.
And Kevin Harvick coming down pit road. One more tight on the 4 machine of Kevin Harvick. quick we saw Chase Elliott also making a stop, Dave.
Kyle Larson, good run so far. I can't believe too much rear grip is a problem, but Kyle says it is. The car is too tight when he runs up against the wall. That's where you make the speed. As for Blaney, he's struggling on entry up by the wall. Tight center, struggling going through the throttle, Marty.
Mark Truex Jr. led 10 early laps. They clearly a very good short run car. And because they're on the pole, he gets that number 1 pit stall. Has to work around John Hunter Nemechek. He's in his biggest issue, a little free on exit. Brad Keselowski very happy with the handling of his car. He said it, quote, took off great and held on.
And for William Byron, he said just a little tight center, snappy, free off. They will make a slight air pressure adjustment on those Goodyear tires and Stenhouse fuel.
College Steve.
Tyler Reddick still out on the racetrack, has overtaken the race lead for the time being. Christopher Bell has made his way to pit road alongside A.J. Allmendinger, Chris Buescher, Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
The car still too tight. That was the condition they had yesterday. It also said at the end of the run, he was starting to lose his exit as well. Bell was hanging around the 10th position for that entire run. Tyler Reddick is coming down pit road as well. And Reddick saying the car held on very good for him on that run, Rick. As longer they went, that 45 got better.
Denny Hamlin still has to hit pit road alongside Corey LaJoie, Joey Logano, Eric Jones, Ty Dillon are the 5 drivers yet to hit pit road, as I mentioned that. Bubba Wallace on his way in right now. Same with Reddick, obviously. And then Corey LaJoie also made his way to pit road.
He said the car was a little bit loose to start, but the longer they ran, it came to him, and he said it feels really good against the wall. Just wanted a little bit more lateral grip for the end of that run.
So Denny Hamlin, the only playoff driver who has still stayed out on the racetrack. He's going to lose a lot of time for the time being, obviously, and I think the hope is that they stay out of the pits long enough that they lose the time now, have plenty of time to try to gain that time back. If they're looking to split this run in half, they'd probably go 40-40, which I think is the idea. Hamlin definitely going to stay out of the pits this time by as well. Continues to run the outside groove through 3 and 4, so indication that he is coming in that time by. He's got a 15-second gap over Joey Logano currently. We have 11 cars on the lead lap as of the start-finish line that last time by, with a lot of the leaders still staying out of the pits. Again, only 4 drivers still have to make their first pit stop of the day. You can run roughly 60 laps at a full tank. I doubt Hamlin's going to want to go that far, but trying to put himself in the best position right now. If a caution comes out, bonus for him because not only he can pit, he'll bring everybody else onto pit road as well. Each of these teams have 9 sets of tires that they can change throughout the course of the race today. So again, 9 sets, and you're just now seeing pretty much everybody has used their first set. Eric Jones has made his way to pit road, so only Hamlin, Logano, and Ty Dillon still have to make their first stop. Brad Keselowski, with pitting before William Byron, has leapfrogged him in the running order. Byron actually stayed out maybe even too long that Kyle Larson had gotten by Byron in the running order as well. So staying out just a lap or 2 longer obviously has costed Byron the eventual race lead. It looks like Keselowski will take over the lead once Denny Hamlin decides to hit the pits.
You mentioned there are a few that still need to come to pit road.
Well, you're going to see the speed difference right here on board with Denny Hamlin. Well, it's going to be very quickly the one that Ross Chastain is going to show up to your left because he's already come by and taken his new tires right there. Look at that, Ross Chastain. That's the difference. Watch how small that one car gets on corner exit. They look like there are 2 different class of racing cars, right? Christopher Bell as well. That's the tire difference. We talk about seconds, laps, so how much slower you run. This is a great visual of just how much faster new tires are.
Over 2 seconds right now as far as lap times between Hamlin and Keselowski. Keselowski came on lap 32, 4 fresh tires. Hamlin still out there on the tires they started the race on. And Keselowski all the way up to 3rd. Steve, you called it.
So this time, now drivers, you're going to get your brake bias correct. I assume you're going to enter at the bottom man here, Junior, right? If you're going to run, hand out the window, letting the cars behind you know you're coming. Tend to be a little bit conservative on these early stops, especially under green flag, but we know Denny Hamlin, he pushes the limit. Really clean entry, though. Obviously not even close to sliding tires, not even close to missing pit road.
Crew Chief Chris Gamehart liked Steve's math. He told his driver, we're going to split it in half, and we're going to learn early. And Hamlin's like this race car. You saw him able to run the line, and he likes not right up against the wall, but a little bit down from that. So far, good speed. 4 Goodyear tires and fuel. Marty?
Dave, Joey Logano, and Paul Wolf making the same exact call as the 11 team. They're in a backup car today and had to start at the back of the field after a crash in practice yesterday. And Paul Wolf told me this morning this was only offering to split this stage in half. We'll see if this fresh Goodyear rubber will help Logano and maybe make up all that time he lost at the end of that run.
Give you an idea of what running long does. You see in the upper right-hand side of your screen, the 6 of Frank Keselowski nearing the start-finish line, the 11 of Denny Hamlin halfway down the back straightaway. That's a half a lap behind. Before the pit cycle started, Denny was running in the 7th position, about 5 seconds back. Now he's going to be about 17 to 18 seconds back. Now his tires are a little fresher, so he'll gain in on Brad. The question is, does he gain the whole rest of this run, right? 39 laps to go. If he can get through traffic and use the fresh tire, it's going to be interesting to see where the stage finishes. Does he get all the way back to 7th, or does he climb higher than that?
You're looking how it nets out. The guys who came early as opposed to the guys who come late, how do they net out when they're into the stage? Comes as far as the green and white checkered flag.
So now with pit stops done, now it's back to racing, guys, right? And what kind of adjustments you made and how much better your car is driving.
Watching this 19 at Truex, let's see if they made improvements on this car. He was losing a couple spots since the race began. He's got Reddick right on the fence behind him. Reddick trying to use that higher line to gain a little bit of ground down the back straightaway. The big bump right here that's developed on the entry to turn 3 over the tunnel. And then some bumps as well. Right through there, you see a little bit of content in the racetrack. If your car's tight through that, you'll slide the nose into the wall. If you're losing rear grip and you go across the walls, just continue to swing the back. A lot of new content, or small content, becoming a big problem in this racetrack as it continues to age over the years.
So Keselowski out in front by 1.1 seconds over Larson. As we go back a little bit further and look at playoff drivers, the 20 of Bell running in the 8th position. He's about 12 seconds behind Marty.
He's been in the back half of the top 10 for pretty much the entire day, Rick. So when we all sat down with Christopher Bell at the beginning of the playoffs, we asked him, what tracks do you like and what are you worried about? He quickly answered, I'm worried about Miami, which is strange because Christopher Bell is known to be able to run the high line so well. I asked his crew chief Adam Stevens this morning, why did he say Miami is a problem for him? Stevens told me, you run Miami in the high line way different than anywhere else. And Junior, I'm curious, and in your career, you found that to be true as well. Entering the corner, just like Christopher Bell did right there against the wall, way different than you would run the high line anywhere else.
I got a text from Kyle Larson this week that said, hey man, to make the high line work here, you have to enter on the wall. You don't enter a car length off and slide up to the wall. You enter on the fence. Get right up next to it, right as you're lifting off the gas. And I think that that's the challenge for a lot of drivers. It takes a lot of nerve, a lot of skill to be able to really put the car against the wall on entry, on decel. But Kyle Larson will tell you the sooner you can create that additional increase in side force, the better. Kyle Larson told me if he enters a lane lower, he's more apt to hit the wall in the middle of the corner. It's easier to make that mistake and get the fence. So trying to stay on this wall, especially entering turn 1 right here with Chastain. Let's see how he does it. See, he moves away from the wall, and a lot of drivers will then slide up against it. He's not going to run the wall on this end of the racetrack, but a lot of times you sort of chop the entry even by car length, and then you lose that side force, and you slide up to the wall in the middle of the corner. It's so hard to commit on entry right up against the fence like right here. That's a good job. He's even moving a little bit away from it there, but late in the race, you want to be inches from that wall all the way around the entire lap. It's really the only track you do that at.
Does the Kubota camera survive an entire race if you're going to put that thing inches from the wall? We hope so. But a great view there from Ross Chastain.
Your current top 5, Brad Keselowski in the lead by 0.9 of a second over Kyle Larson. In second place, William Byron again has dropped to third following green flag pit stops. He's 1.6 seconds back up Keselowski. Ryan Blaney up to fourth place, 4.6 seconds off the lead. And Martin Truex Jr. is in fifth place, 8 seconds off the lead. So that is your top 5 to this point in the race. Currently still 31 cars on the lead lap. The driver who has led the most laps in the early going is Byron with 13 laps led. Keselowski, your current leader, has led 8 laps already. We've had 6 different drivers lead at least 1 lap in the race, 7 lead changes, as we have not had a caution yet through this point. And really, we only saw 1 lead change during green flag stops for Hamlin leading. So we've had 5 actual drivers leading this race on actual speed in this one in just the first 49 laps of stage 1. Be sure to hit the like button on the stream if you guys are enjoying and or watching this stream. Be sure to also hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet. As of right now, again, we are sitting a little over 200 subscribers away from 5,000 on the channel, so hopefully we can get there before the finale at Phoenix in a couple of weeks for the NASCAR Cup Series Championship race. We're going to take a quick little ad break here, get back to the race action and to the end of stage 1. You're listening live on KRC. Put up a poll as well for who you think will win today's race. We usually close this at the end of stage 2 for every race, so if you're in the chat, you can vote there. 34 votes have been casted so far. The votes are between Martin Truex Jr., William Byron, Kyle Larson, or other. If you think none of those 3 drivers are going to win, as of right now, with Keselowski leading, other is technically in the lead in the race and currently leading the poll at 43%. 23% of the votes go into William Byron thus far, 20% for Kyle Larson, and 14% for Martin Truex Jr. as these fall into about 5th place after leading laps from the poll at the very start of this one here today. Billy Kramer, welcome into the stream also. Kyle Larson closing that gap on Brad Keselowski through the commercial break, as currently he is 0.3 of a second off the race lead. We'll see if Brad Keselowski can get all the way up there in the running order. William Byron, again, remaining in 3rd. A little bit past the probably 2/3 mark of stage 1. And here's a little bit more of that race coverage with 28 laps to go in the first stage.
You can follow your favorite drivers with access to their in-car cameras. You can even choose some alternate camera angles. Visit NASCAR.com/drive, or you can download the NASCAR mobile app to watch all of the action as we ride along with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and the 47 car, thanks to Vitamin Water, giving us this look out of the passenger side, right side window. Keselowski out front, but only by 0.3 of a second. That's now down to 0. As you see the 5 of Kyle Larson right next to him.
And this is fun to see him try to make this pass on the bottom of the racetrack. We saw his teammate, the 24 Byron, make the pass the lead earlier, running the bottom, and look how well he does. Hitting that left front to the white line, that whole car is just sliding through the corner. Takes such discipline on the throttle and the steering to do that. And discipline on corner entry, right? See Brad Keselowski now trying to jump back on the outside. Now Larson's going to just slide right up in front of Brad, put Brad in a situation. What are we going to do? Brad lifts a little bit. A little bit of give and take early in the race. When Larson went to the bottom, it was about discipline. Meaning, if you drive in the corner too deep and you miss that white line, it's a terrible lap. You got to drive in there at the right speed, get the car slowed down, get the left front on it, and then it'll roll around it. If you ever miss it, you're never going to get back down to it. And that's difficult to do when you've been running a different lane. To immediately go and maximize the potential is a very difficult thing to do. And Larson has the opportunity to run the wall in 1 and 2, chooses not to. Saw like yesterday in the Xfinity race, a lot of great opportunity in turn 1 and 2. A lot less grip in 3 and 4, but running the bottom in turn 1, I think, has more potential today than what we're going to see down in turn 3 and 4, Dave.
And you saw Larson not just jump into making the pass on the 6. He took his time, and the car condition may be wide.
Just a little too tightly access, a little bit.
Do you think that's where you would want it for fair?
No.
A little bit tight late exit, so couldn't really
really finish the pass there like he wanted to. Finally got it done and needs an adjustment next time he goes to pit road, Marty, even though he's the leader.
Brad Keselowski is out of the playoffs. When I talked to Matt McCullough's crew chief this morning, I said, so what's the goal for the rest of 2023? And then he said, win a race or two. He said, honestly, it's not that far out of the realm of possibility. Finished fourth at Las Vegas last week, showing they can run up front here today. And remember, Martinsville, Phoenix, two terrific tracks for Brad Keselowski. Rick, it's crazy to think Brad Keselowski has never won in the next-gen car. It might change before the season's over.
Well, moving over to Roush Fenway to make it Roush Fenway Keselowski has given him that opportunity. He's on a 95 race winless streak, but it has been Chris Buescher that he's been most proud of as really kind of carrying the flag for RFK this season. But now it's Brad Keselowski who's running up front and contending for the wins. Lotus Freight giving us this shot with Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, a little bit of movement in the back of that car off of turn 2. You're going to have that. He's committed to the gas right here. A little shift. Starts to try to go to gas. Wants to commit. Wants to see those cars driving away from him. He's like, I got to get more throttle. It's just asking too much of the rear tires. That's exactly where Joey Logano spun out yesterday in practice. Like he was coming off the corner, and Joey got surprised how quickly the car turned around, hit the inside wall, had to go to a backup. On this tire with the short sidewall, that little moment of the cars, losing traction is in such a small window, and you have to be able to react to it and recognize that it's happening to be able to save the car. It's so much harder to do for these Cup drivers than the truck in the Xfinity Series, which has a taller sidewall tire.
99 of Suarez, just in front of Kevin Harvick. Harvick, he's completed every lap but 2 that he has raced here since he made his first Miami start. 22 starts in total, 19 of those have ended in top 10s. Check in on Denny Hamlin. Dave.
Rick coming back through the field now, back up to 9th position after being one of the last ones to take on fresh Goodyear tires. Remember, I told you guys that part of the radio conversation was they're going to learn something here. So Steve, as he comes back through, and with the math that Chris Neymar did, splitting the stage exactly in half, what kind of things was the crew chief wanting to learn?
Well, I think what he's wanted to learn is he knew he was going to give up time by pitting late. The question is, do you get it back? And if you do, how long does it take? So with 19 laps to go in this stage, Denny Hamlin, as you mentioned, Dave, running 9th, 13 seconds behind Kyle Larson. But look at the difference. He was over 16 seconds back, 15, then started chunking it down, 13, but then you see how it kind of tapered. 5 laps later, he's still 13 seconds back. So I'm not sure the strategy itself is way off. It just seems like Denny Hamlin is just not quite as good on old tires as he needs to be. He's still the fastest car on the racetrack, but now by only a 1/10 of a second. He needs to be making up 2, 3, 4 tenths of a second a lap.
And remember, Steve, you told us earlier that he was running 7th before that pit cycle, and it was only a little over 5 seconds behind the race leader. So maybe a net loss?
Well, I don't know. I think he's going to get back to 7. So you see on the left-hand side, 12 seconds behind the leader, but only about a second behind Bell, 2.5 behind Dillon. I think he'll get back to 7th. Now, relative to the leader, he may be further back, but I don't know if that's an 11-car issue or a Kyle Larson really good issue out there leading the race. Good little battle right here between this 12-car, Blaney and Byron. Blaney to the inside of the lap car. Alex Bowman just can't quite get there. Byron now to the inside. They're both side by side down to the bottom of the racetrack. It's 24 wraps that bottom really good, but the 12's been good this weekend. A lot of good speed in this car in practice. Surprised a lot of people to see the speed they had. He's showing it right now in the top 5. There's a lot of optimism around that 12 car. Here comes William Byron, drives deep in the corner. He's still just keeping the left side tires right on that white line, Steve. Yeah, right behind him you see Alex Bowman. If you want to know how he ended up back there, he was running pretty decent. He slid long in his box. Green flag, had to back up. Had like a 17, 18-second pit stop. For that reason, he's a lap down. Watching his 17 car here, Chris Buescher trying to stay on the lead lap. Leader Larson trying to put him a lap down here. Should be able to do this relatively easily. Buescher's about 3 or 4 tenths off the pace of the leader in the 17 car. He does have that preferred high line, but you see he can't really get the car to work up there. He has to try to drive away from the wall on corner exit. Busher, he's back underneath the 5 of Larson. What's he going to do? How aggressive is he going to get? Does not get very aggressive. Drives in. Not a lot of panic. Really smart move by Busher. Thought he might overdrive the entry and try to slide up, but just understanding the situation and not making it worse.
You can see the car moving around right there in the middle, trying to get back to the gas. That 17 is unhappy.
Busher has struggled the most of the playoff drivers. He now a lap down, running 28th here in Miami.
And in danger of losing another position with the 15 car right behind him as well. As far as the race lead goes, again, Kyle Larson out in front by 1.7 seconds over Brad Keselowski. Ryan Blaney is in third place, 4.2 seconds off the lead. William Byron, 4.8 seconds back in fourth. Martin Truex Jr., 10 seconds off the lead in fifth. Tyler Reddick in sixth place, 10.4 seconds back. Austin Dillon, 10.8 seconds back in seventh. Eighth place is Christopher Bell. He is 12.1 seconds off the lead. Make that Denny Hamlin now in eighth at 12.1 seconds off the lead. Christopher Bell in ninth place, 12.7 seconds back. And Ty Gibbs rounds out the top 10 as he is sneaking up there for the first time today. He's 18.5 seconds behind race leader Kyle Larson. We'll take a quick ad break here as we have 13 laps to go in stage one of the Forever 400 at Homestead. Chris Davis, thanks for tuning in. And he's pulling for the Rangers. Terry Lewis is pulling for the Astros. We got a Phil's fan in the chat. A lot of big-time Major League Baseball fans I see of some big-time teams that are still running. Good to see. As a Tigers fan, it's been too long since I've been able to watch postseason baseball with that much passion. Just over 100 concurrent viewers watching, up to 50 likes on the stream in this first stage, so we are pacing to get to 150 likes by the end, but let's make sure we do so sooner rather than later, and maybe we have a chance to get up to maybe the 200 mark before the end of the stream. Appreciate everybody tuning in so far this afternoon, and as well as throughout the course of not only the season, but this weekend's events as well. Just two more NASCAR Sundays left this season, Martinsville next weekend, and then Phoenix a week after. The Xfinity Series is racing next Saturday as well. We'll have live commentary there. And then we'll have live commentary for all the Championship 4 races at Phoenix for the Truck, Xfinity, and Cup Series that Friday through Sunday. Lap 70 of this one, still caution-free to this point. Everybody has cycled through the first set of tires through green flag pit stops. We've seen almost 2.5 seconds of fall-off over the course of this run. Of course, they are going longer on tires, for the most part, for most of the field, to the end of the stage rather than to their first pit stop. Most of the field pitted between laps 30 and 35. Very few drivers actually took it to the halfway mark, Denny Hamlin being one of those. Joey Logano, I think, was another. And I believe Ty Dillon and Eric Jones also were on that same strategy. As of right now, 3 of those 4 on the lead lap. Ty Dillon's a lap down in 30th. Chris Buescher still in the free pass position for right now. He's really hoping he stays in the free pass position to the end of this stage so he can get that lap back. If not, otherwise he's going to start stage 2 a lap down. And he'll be the only playoff driver to be a lap down to start stage number 2. 2.5 lead still for Kyle Larson over Brad Keselowski. Maybe a little bit of heavy lap traffic that last lap for Larson. He was 0.4 of a second slower than Brad Keselowski. So maybe Brad's finding something middle of the run. Maybe it's time for him to go. Was conserving his tires a little bit. Kyle Larson did get up there past him pretty quickly after Keselowski had taken the lead post green flag pit stops. Chris Buescher still hanging on to the free pass position right now. He needs to hold off that 15 car behind him. Also has to really hope that Michael McDowell, Harrison Burton, Chase Briscoe, those that are at the tail end of the lead lap, also don't lose a lap. 1.3 seconds is the difference now between first and second. Make it 1.1. So Keselowski's closing pretty quickly. 2 to 3 tenths of a second quicker a lap than Larson the last 2 or 3 laps now. Denny Hamlin trying to get a couple more spots here late in the stage. Remember, stage points on the line. 1 point per position in the top 10 positions in the running order at the end of stages 1 and 2. And a lot of these playoff drivers are in contention for those said stage points. Trying to push themselves closer to a championship. But to first have a chance at the championship, you got to make it to that championship 4 headed into Phoenix. Kyle Larson has done so with a win at Vegas. But if you don't get a win either today at Homestead or next week at Martinsville, you have to qualify on points. And it is guaranteed that at least one driver is going to have to qualify in on points. And as we talk about that, as we run right now in the early going, William Byron is 21 points above the cutoff line as we run. Martin Truex Jr. plus 11 points. Denny Hamlin plus 5 points. Ryan Blaney, make that Denny Hamlin plus 8 points, Ryan Blaney plus 5. Christopher Bell minus 11. Minus 19 points for Tyler Reddick, and Chris Buescher with being a lap down in 28th is minus 52 points. Really the only driver in a must-win situation is Buescher, based off the points and how they look. But because we are so early in this race, if he gets up into the top 10, gets stage points in stage 2, and competes for the win, even with not winning, he can still put himself in a position where he doesn't necessarily have to win either today or at Martinsville to make it to the next round. Denny Hamlin going to pull off a pass in turns 1 and 2 on Tyler Reddick in the 45 car. All clear. Taking advantage with the slightly fresher tires as passed Reddick for 6th place on the racetrack. Martin Truex Jr. in 5th is within a half a second in front of him as well. Hamlin running a lane off the wall, trying to catch some clean air. He's got just 5 more laps to try to get by his teammate in the 19. And Larson stretched that lead back out to 2.7 seconds again as well. Truex also closing in on a lap car, so he has to move off the wall. That allows for Hamlin to close even quicker in the 19. It goes to show how much quicker Hamlin is than Truex specifically here. At this time that Truex runs off the wall, Hamlin caught him at a much quicker rate. Truex off the wall again, trying to get by the lapper of Alex Bowman. Not going to be able to do it. Hamlin rounding that outside lane all the way through the corner, fighting through that dirty air, closes the gap on the 19 again. Truex all the way to the bottom, Hamlin to the middle. Spinner, back straightaway. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has a flat right rear tire as he goes around. Caution flag is out for the first time this afternoon, and this will more than likely end stage 1 under the yellow as Keselowski's trying to get his car back to pit road without severe damage as the right rear seems to be flat on that number 47 Camaro.
Here you can hear the damage being done by the flat tires for the 47. I couldn't tell if it was flat tires because of the spin. Did it cause the spin, or is it the toe link? The right rear does not look like it was pointing in the correct direction, but it's hard to say what was the cause and what was the result.
And he was a part of that green flag pit stop cycle. Everybody coming around 32, 33.
Yeah, you see the right rear pointed towards the inside of the car, so that tells me that the toe link is broke. You see a little damage on the wheel well. Let's see what happens. So it looks like, I'm going to call it light contact. Anywhere else that would be a little bit heavy wall contact. Here in Miami, light contact. But then it breaks the toe link, and you think that's what causes the eventual spin?
Well, that's difficult to tell, but sometimes, Steve, when the car gets in the wall, it just sucks it into the wall. You can't get away from it. It just keeps banging back into it. But then, yes, I think it did break the toe link. That's why I ultimately spun.
First caution out here at Homestead-Miami Speedway.
So under caution for the first time today, and again, this should take us to the end of stage 1 as we only had to race to lap 80, currently at lap 78. Kyle Larson looks like he is going to win the stage, assuming we don't get a one-lap green-white checker shootout. Brad Keselowski will finish 2nd, Ryan Blaney 3rd, William Byron 4th, Martin Truex Jr. hangs on to 5th, Denny Hamlin in 6th, right behind him at the time of the caution. Tyler Reddick in 7th, Austin Dillon 8th, Christopher Bell 9th, and Ty Gibbs will round out the top 10 in this first stage. So that is another stage win for Kyle Larson. That now gives him 8 stage wins on the season, which will tie him with his teammate William Byron for the most stage wins thus far in 2023. Larson, again, maybe the favorite for the championship, considering he's the only driver locked into the championship for, but his teammate William Byron with the most wins this season. Right up there in contention for this one today, too. He's in 4th. Running order-wise, just doesn't seem to be quite as fast as the 5. Larson, the class of the field here in stage 1, despite the fact that he, I think, has barely led the most laps in this race today. And looking at the laps led total, you wouldn't necessarily think that he's that dominant. 25 laps led in the first 78. He has 12 more laps led than both Keselowski and Byron, who have the second most, or tied for the second most. Free pass with this caution is going to go to Michael McDowell in 25th, so Chris Buescher will still remain a lap down to begin this next stage. He's hoping that they end up having pit stops to allow him to get the wave around here before the end of the stage, and then he could pit during the stage break. But I just don't see us getting back to racing here, as we only had 4 laps left when the caution came out. 4 laps to go when the caution came out. Maybe on a bigger racetrack, a road course or super speedway, it could be possible with a single car incident, but not at a mile and a half and shorter. I just don't see it happening. Brian Zantop, thanks for tuning in. Currently deer hunting, listening to my. Hopefully you have AirPods in or something, because if you, that would probably affect your deer hunting ability today if you were listening to me on like a speaker or something. It would be a little too loud, I would think. So I would imagine you're listening to me headphone wise, but appreciate that. I like donuts and NASCAR. Also, thanks for tuning in.
Was the checker flag? Yeah.
What a finish by Kyle Larson.
Yeah, good job, guys. Go to Phoenix, boys. Go to Phoenix.
Really cool to get to a race for that championship in a few weeks, and we hope to stress race next year races.
Larson takes one of the spots in the championship 4 in 2 weeks at Phoenix. He'll be racing for his second championship. And as we finish under caution, Larson is going to have his 8th stage win of 2023. He swept the stages and won here last year after leading 199 laps. And with this one ending under yellow, he'll grab this stage. And again, 10 points for him. They don't matter. He's already in the championship 4. But other playoff drivers that are going to gain points: Blaney, Byron, Truex Jr., Hamlin, Reddick, and Bell in 9th.
So basically, you're just leaving Chris Buescher off the list.
Yes.
Yeah, Chris Buescher is going to be the only playoff driver to not score stage points. And what makes it worse is he was the only one a week ago in the same bucket. No stage points. And Junior Jeff, we talked about it. These stage points have changed how racing works. It's not top 5s and top 10s anymore. It's how many points you earned getting to that top 5 or that top 10.
Yeah, I don't even say Christopher Bell finishing 9th. Yeah, he got stage points, but that's not enough. I mean, this is look at the lineup. It's the playoff guys.
Right.
We talked about it before the race. Okay is not okay. You got to be really, really good if you're going to get the points that you need. Christopher Bell with the top 10 in stage 1 has the second least amount of points earned so far today in the playoff guys.
Yeah, it's wild how the narratives changed over the years. You had to win the final race to win the championship. Now you got to run top 5 in every single stage.
Yeah.
At least in the final few rounds before we get to Phoenix. The standard for excellence and just how good you've got to be to make it to that final race keeps getting raised every year.
Chris Buescher really has put himself into a must-win situation, either here or at Martinsville. But the rest of the field, can we put Tyler Reddick? I mean, he's right now 19 points below the cut line. Is that must-win yet? There's still a lot of points that are out there, even in this race.
Yeah, it's just you're racing against the best. So maybe it is must-win because all these other guys aren't going to have bad days.
Pit road is open, and Kyle Larson in the 5 is going to lead him on the pit road, Kim.
Logan Byron still battling a tight condition. He said he cannot use the right front center exit as a tool yet, so the plan is to free him up with a little wedge and air pressure adjustment in addition to those 4 Goodyear tires instead of fuel, Dave.
Stage winner Kyle Larson did not have the against the wall stuff fixed, so a small adjustment there. Middle and bottom are good. As for Ryan Blaney, 8 stage points, definitely better, but a little tight on the wall. Needs adjustment for that, Marty.
And he's hearing a lot of variance between handling conditions on each end of the racetrack. Martin Truex Jr., a good example. In 1 and 2, they say they're so good, but 3 and 4, no grip against the wall. 3 on entry and tight back to the gas. Truex came in 5th, Rick. He winds up gaining 1 spot, leads in 4th.
Yeah, Byron gaining a spot, Truex gaining a spot, and so good for those two as Pitbull, Grimace, the Hamburglar, Mike Helton, all before the start of this race having a good time. Now, stage 1 complete here in Miami.
So Keselowski, not the race leader. I don't know. It's just scoring that because of based off of where they hit the start-finish line under pit lane that time. Once we cycle all the way back through, Brad's going to be back in 2nd place still. There we go. Kyle Larson, currently your race leader. As you heard, Ryan Blaney lost 2 spots on pit road, I do know of. And then also, I believe somebody gained 4. I couldn't tell who that was that gained 4 positions on pit road. It might have been Christopher Bell, but I'm not entirely sure. Somebody gained 4 positions in the pits in the back half of the top 10. I think it was somebody that wasn't in the top 10 at the end of the last stage and then finally got there. Maybe it was Austin Dillon, but I think he was already up there. Chastain, maybe it might have been Ross Chastain. I don't think he was in the top 10 at all prior to pit stops. Christopher Bell has fallen outside the top 10. He's now back at 13. So lengthy stop for the 20 team. We've seen that a lot this playoffs. Pit crew not performing to the standards that they had in the regular season when they were pitting with Ty Gibbs. Now in this 20 car, Christopher Bell, even if it's not a mistake necessarily on pit road, they're just not as fast as they once were, especially at a time of the season where it matters the most, and that is hindering Bell as he came into this race a couple points below the cutoff line. On track, they finished 9th in the stage, but got beat by every other playoff driver except for Chris Buescher, who was already behind him in points anyway. So even though you would kind of chalk it up as, a good start to the race for Christopher Bell and Christopher Bell fans out there watching this, but at the same time, as Dale Jr. kind of mentioned, you have to be running top 5 pretty much the entire race, the last round or two leading up to the championship 4, and then obviously you still have to be up there, to be in contention for a track position standpoint at Phoenix as well if you want a good chance to win the championship in that finale. Kyle Larson's done a great job of that as of late. Hendrick Motorsports really in general has, when you consider that Byron has a win at Texas in the last round, getting the first win in that round. Larson in this round, Larson leading Byron in third. Definitely looking like the 2 championship favorites, which was pretty much the case very, very early in the season. That first quarter to first third of the season, I would have said that Byron and Larson were the championship favorites. And then during the course of the summer, the Toyotas kind of caught up to them, and it looked like Truex and Hamlin were the favorites. And I think it's right back to Larson and Byron again as of these last 3 to 4 weeks, as they're right back to where they were at the very beginning of the season and clicking at the right time when it matters the most, as you see so far today.
Coke Zero Sugar. Is it the best Coke ever? And by Northern Tool. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com. We're made for this. You're watching the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Forever 400, presented by Mobile One. Stage 1 is complete. Let's check in with the Peacock Pit Bots and KP and DJ. All right, KP, anything surprise you out of Stage 1?
Well, the sun's beginning to come out, okay, so the weather conditions are changing. And William Byron, he's had a look at the front. We've seen him run up front. Also, Brad Kay, he continues to impress. But I had to look around about halfway through that segment because I thought we were still in Vegas with that 5-car list.
Yeah, he's got. If momentum and confidence is anything going forward, then he might already have the championship in hand. But I like watching Ryan Blaney. He moved around with his race car, made a lot of passes down the bottom side, which a lot of people were able to do. But he also could run against the wall. So let's see what he can do if he can continue to move forward, getting some more stage points.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
It will. As again, Larson out in front after pit stops have taken place. Keselowski will be second as we look at the Stage 1 points that were earned. I mentioned Larson gaining 10, doesn't need them, but he has them. Blaney, Byron, Truex Jr., Hamlin, Reddick, and Bell, all playoff drivers that gain points. The one that's not on that list is Buescher. Get a few updates before the green flag flies. We'll start with Kim.
And Austin Dillon having a great run today, currently in the 6th position, and he's got 3 finishes in the last 4 races of 8th or better, including a 4th last year. I asked him why he likes this track so much. He said it reminds him of a dirt track. He can move around and find all different lanes. Dave?
What happened to pole sitter Bubba Wallace after leading 9 laps early? Well, he said it's icy out here. Can't turn off the wall like he wants to. Can't feel the right rear like I did yesterday. They told him to focus and keep working on it. He said, I'm going to been babying it too much, Marty. I'm going to start attacking.
Dave, terrific Stage 1 for Brad Keselowski, but is there a problem with the brakes? So Steve, can you help us understand what all of that means?
When we talk about tire fall-off, well, tire fall-off means the rubber is kind of being graded off the tires. Where does it go? It goes in the ductwork, goes in the hose area, gets on the right front brakes, and that must be why it pulsates and shakes.
Keselowski was
First restart since the initial start of the race ensuing here at lap 86. Green flag back in the air as we begin stage 2. Hand out the window for Brad Keselowski as he wants to push from Truex. Truex not going to give him that push as he wasn't quite close enough to the back bumper. Keselowski still got a good launch anyway and is going to be able to potentially pull clear of Larson. No, not quite. Larson stays to the outside, but he gets a little tight in the center of the corner. Drives away from the 6. The 6 with a very low exit. They'll meet together on the back straightaway to side draft as they head to turn 3. The 6 on the bottom, the 5 on the outside, side by side behind him for third as well. Between Truex and Byron, big moment there for Truex as he had to lift, almost make contact with the left rear quarter panel, the 24 to his outside. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, Kyle Larson clears Keselowski finally off turn 4 to lead that lap at the line. Truex going to lose a couple positions to not only Byron, but Ty Gibbs up to 4th place. What a restart for the 54. Blaney dropping like a rock off the restart. He's 3 wide middle off turn 2, trying to fend off Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick around him. And Chastain trying to get into the picture in that battle as well between Reddick and Blaney. Reddick slides up. He almost gets into the 12 of Ryan Blaney. They both go to the outside, and Chastain's going to get underneath them 3 wide off turn 4 for about 6th place. Still 3 wide into turn 1. Chastain on the bottom, Reddick in the middle, and Blaney on the outside. Chastain going to pull clear of both cars. Reddick and Blaney still very tight, door to door in the center of the corner. Reddick almost into the wall in line behind Blaney as Blaney clears the 45 finally. Corey LaJoie with a run into the top 10. What a great run for him. Looking to the inside of Reddick now, who lost a spot to Austin Dillon on the backstretch. Reddick up near the wall, inches away, as he gets back by Austin Dillon through 1 and 2. A.J. Allmendinger also in the picture of getting into the top 10. Looking to the inside of LaJoie, who threw a late block on the front straightaway, pinching off the 16th car for corner entry. LaJoie still staying to the inside of Denny Hamlin. Allmendinger also was able to get underneath the 7, made it 3 wide for a moment, and then they merge off turn 2, single file into 3. Lap 9 of stage 2. And about the 3rd or 4th green flag lap of the stage, another wild restart we've seen pretty much all weekend through all 3 series at Homestead. Kyle Larson 0.3 of a second out ahead of his teammate William Byron, who is up to 2nd place now. Keselowski falling to 3rd on the restart. Martin Truex Jr. in 4th, and Ty Gibbs is currently in 5th. Stage number 2. So far, current point standings as they run. Larson already with a win, advanced in. He's leading the race. William Byron plus 31 points as he runs 2nd. Martin Truex Jr. plus 19 points. Denny Hamlin 6 points above the cutoff line, currently 4th. And then 4th in the point standings, that is, not in the race. He is 10th in the race right now. Ryan Blaney minus 6 points, but is running 6th in the race. Christopher Bell, minus 11 points, is in the 14th place position. Tyler Reddick in 7th in points is 13 points below the cutoff line on Hamlin. Currently, Reddick is a couple spots ahead of him in 8th in the running order. And Chris Buescher is still a lap down in 26th right now as he's 45 points below the cutoff line. Ross Chastain making a pass on Ty Gibbs for 6th place, it looks. Ryan Blaney also getting back into the top 5 to 5th. Gibbs with that great restart gained about 4 or 5 positions, but now is quickly losing those positions back over the next several laps. William Byron has closed the gap on his teammate Kyle Larson at the very front of the field. Larson running a maybe slightly defensive line through 3 and 4 in that middle groove, taking Byron's line away. And Keselowski up on the outside really starting to close the gap after the 5 as well. We had a good battle for the lead for about the first 30 or so laps of Stage 1. We'll see if that'll happen here for Stage 2 as well. If you are watching on NBC, you can see that there are 3 cars all in a tight window with one another, battling in the late going between Larson, Byron, and Keselowski. Not the late going necessarily, but the early going of Stage 2, middle going of the race. Byron took a look to the inside, couldn't even get really anywhere close to Larson. Underneath him, Keselowski closes the gap on the 24, but he's going to stay wide through 1 and 2. He's not going to dive low and attempt to make the pass this time. He's going to continue to try to set him up for a better opportunity. Byron on the bottom. This could be that good opportunity for Keselowski as he rounds off the top very well. Has a run on the back straightaway, stays behind the 24. And again, stays to the outside. That definitely looked like he could have potentially caught and past William Byron, but decides to stay to the outside lane anyway. And he gets up against the wall. Keselowski a little tight. In the wake of the dirty air behind Kyle Larson, brushes the wall just a little bit off turn 4. Couldn't hold that line. He's going to drop back a little bit into turn 1. A couple car lengths behind Byron now after being right on his back bumper getting into 3. It looked like he was going to have a good opportunity to potentially pass him to the inside. He stayed high instead, and it bit him. Not very hard contact, very light contact with the wall. This time he's going to go down to the bottom and try to pass the 24. He's not wasting any time. And he's going to slide up. And he is going to nearly get into the 24. Not a lot of room between those two cars. The 6 was moving around a ton there. They still stay side by side off turn 2. Keselowski side drafts, pulls to the bottom. Going to clear high now. We'll see if Byron's going to be able to get a crossover in here. He cuts to the bottom. Center of the corner, but he can't get back alongside Keselowski. So Keselowski takes over second. Blaney to 4th as he passed Chastain a couple laps ago. Truex followed Blaney to get to 5th. Chastain has fallen to 6th, and Blaney now in the picture behind the 24 and the 6 after that intense battle for second. Kyle Larson about a second away from these two now in his rearview mirror after they had battled quite a bit. They were just a couple tenths behind Larson, but obviously lost time over the last several laps. Showing a replay of Keselowski getting up against the wall a couple laps ago. Wasn't by much, but he definitely got into it. Didn't seem to hurt the car much either. More composite, stiffer bodies on this next gen. As long as you don't hit it in a weird spot to bend a toe link on the suspension / steering side of things, then should be good to go and continue on. And as Keselowski slightly brushed the wall, he not only was still able to complete the pass on Byron and pull away from him, but he is also still slightly reeling in Larson as he was about 700ths quicker than the 5 that last lap. Lap 98 in this one so far. Kyle Larson leads this race. Brad Keselowski is in second. William Byron third. Ryan Blaney fourth. Martin Truex Jr. in fifth. Ross Chastain in sixth place. Tyler Reddick in seventh. Austin Dillon 8th, Ty Gibbs 9th, Denny Hamlin is 10th. AJ Allmendinger in 11th, Corey LaJoie 12th, Bubba Wallace 13th, Christopher Bell 14th, Joey Logano in 15th, Eric Almirola 16th, Austin Cindric, in 17th, Eric Jones 18th, Kevin Harvick 19th, and Chase Briscoe is 20th. Daniel Suarez in 21st, Ryan Preece 22nd, Kyle Busch 23rd, Chase Elliott 24th, and Michael McDowell's the last car in the lead lap at 25th. Chris Buescher still the first car lap down in 26th, Harrison Burton 27th, Alex Bowman 28th, Ty Dillon 29th, Justin Haley in 30th, Ty Gillen 31st, Ryan Newman 32nd, Josh Bilicki is currently 33rd. Scroll down the screen a little bit here. 34th place is John Hunter Nemechek, J.J. Haley 35th, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is 37th after his spin, bringing out that first caution of the race at lap 76. Kyle Larson has led the most laps to this point with 45 laps led. He was also the winner of stage number 1. And we have still had 7 different drivers lead at least one lap in the race, 10 lead changes. And again, just that one caution for Stenhouse spinning at lap 76, which bled into the stage 1 end. So that is your race to this point. Current average race speed is 134.64 miles per hour through nearly the first 100 laps, just over an hour since the start of this race. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you have not yet. We'll take a quick break and continue our Stage 2 coverage of the Forever 400 at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Blind 1771, thank you for tuning in. Misinformation, Daniel Powers, Inside Uranus, Mike Herrera, also welcome into the stream. More recent people to enter into the chat. I like that comment, by the way, of the, I gotta see it. What was it? Kyle Busch eats corn the long way. That's a good one. I've seen that, I've seen, like, signs of that, recently. There was a clip I saw on YouTube a while back of, like, a poster. It was very well detailed, too, of, it said, that Goldberg eats corn the long way, and I found that hilarious. And then I've seen that, like, at other sporting events over the last, like, several months or whatever, just, like, randomly, like a college game day, you'll see, like, something about it, and, or something of that nature. So it's kind of funny. It came up in the comment section, too. So I've been seeing that a lot more pop up, but it's hilarious. So again, here's an update at the point standings and what they looked like coming into the race today. The stage wins you see there are in this round. So Kyle Larson is actually not only he won Vegas, he won the first 2 stages. He also won stage 1 here today at Homestead. So he's absolutely dominated this round of 8 so far. But again, William Byron came in today +9. Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin +2. -2 for Christopher Bell. So very tight with those 4 drivers on the cutoff line. Even Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, -16, -17 have ran top 7 or 8 pretty much this whole race. So they're very much in contention still to point their way in. I think Blaney right now, as they run, is the first driver below the cutoff line. He's only a couple points behind Hamlin for that last spot. So again, any one of those guys can point their way in. Chris Buescher pretty much looking like he's going to be in a must-win situation because of not having stage points. And not only both stages last weekend at Vegas, but stage 1 here today at Homestead as well. And I don't see him getting stage points at stage 2 without something miraculous happen, considering he is the only playoff driver lap down, and currently not only lap down, but outside the top 25 in the running order. So that is the way we look for the time being. If you haven't joined the NASCAR Fantasy League or mobile website, or the NASCAR Fantasy League on the NASCAR mobile app or NASCAR.com website, you can do so. You can search for KRC League when you go to join a league. KRC in all caps, space, and then a capital L on league. I'll put that name in the chat real quick. KRC League. And the reason why you'll want to join that is because you have a chance to win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race if you're choosing the following season. If you win a regular season or playoff championship, we reset the points every season. This is the second year of us doing this. Actually, no, the third year of us doing this league. And appreciate everybody that tunes into it or that plays in the league. I think we have like 40-something odd people in there. We can have up to 100. Reason why I'm pushing this out there, I know you can't win the championship this year. There's only 3 races left in the season, 2 after today. So obviously if you haven't played, you're not going to win. But it does get you prepared for what is to come for fantasy next season, assuming they don't change the rules or anything, which they haven't since we started this fantasy league. I'm not in control of it. I'm just in control of who's in the league and who isn't at this point. But if you are in the league, you just have to be a subscriber of the channel, and you are automatically eligible, at least if you win the championships, provided, again, the playoff or regular season championship. I'll show you real quick here. There's a quick link section, for instance, on NASCAR.com. You click Fantasy Live. Kind of the same thing on the mobile app. There will be a tab at the top left-hand corner. You click on it, you pull down, you see Fantasy Live in there. You pick 6 drivers every single week, 5 of which are going to be locked into your lineup at the end of Stage 2. So you have until the end of Stage 2 to place whoever is in your garage in your starting 5 if that driver maybe isn't running quite as good as those other ones. So, for instance, here's my team this week. I've got Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Chris Buescher. You can only start up to 5 guys throughout the course of the playoffs, and I think during the regular season it was 10. Yeah, I've ran into issues where I've used a few guys 5 times already because they were so dominant in the playoffs, Kyle Larson being one of which. So that's why he's not in the lineup today. Same goes for Tyler Reddick, who is my pick to win the race. So because Bubba Wallace is clearly outrunning Chris Buescher in this one, I'm going to put Wallace in there unless something happens to him or anybody else before the end of Stage 2. That's going to be my lineup with Buescher still being a lap down. So that is that. And then you got bonus picks to pick from every week. 10 points per bonus pick picked correctly. Took Larson, over Byron. I took Reddick over Bell because I think Reddick is going to win the race, or at least that was my pre-race prediction. Obviously, he doesn't look like the fastest now. Larson's the fastest car on the racetrack. So, yeah, if I could change my pick mid-race, I'd say Larson's going to win. But I can't do that. Got to stick with it. Tyler Reddick was still my pick to win. Took Chris Buescher over Ryan Blaney and Denny Hamlin over Martin Truex Jr. So 2 for 4 as they run right now, but obviously still a little over half the race to go. So that's kind of an update on how exactly that works itself out. Pull the leaderboard back up for you guys as we talk about the race currently going on. Kyle Larson still 1.2 seconds ahead of Brad Keselowski. We'll probably be seeing some green flag pit stops happening somewhat soon. We saw drivers pit right around lap 30 to 35 for the most part in Stage 1. We are at lap 32 in Stage 2 right now. Tyler Reddick making a pass on Ross Chastain for 7th on the racetrack that time by. So Reddick moving back up in the running order again. And Chastain, who gained 4 spots on pit road, gained a few more on the restart, starting to fall back to about where he was running prior to that restart, obviously, as well. So, talk about where the playoff drivers are running right now. We were just talking about the point standings. Again, Larson leads the race. William Byron third. Ryan Blaney fourth. Martin Truex Jr. fifth. Tyler Reddick in seventh. Denny Hamlin in 10th. The only two not in the top 10 would be Christopher Bell, who's fallen back to 19th place. Chris Buescher, who is a lap down in 27th, and he's no longer in the free pass position anymore either. Justin Haley now has the free pass spot. And then also Chase Elliott, that number 9 team. Again, not Elliott for the driver's standings, but the number 9 car, still running for the Owners' Championship. Remember, Josh Berry did a very good job of that race car earlier this season. Corey LaJoie also ran one race in that car back at Gateway, keeping the 9 eligible for the Owners' title because they have ran every race, and they did qualify on points through the regular season when Elliott stepped back into that car and had a good summer stretch of races. Obviously didn't qualify for the driver's standings because he missed 7 races, but the car still ran every race. So they qualified for the Owners' playoffs, and they have made it through the first 2 rounds. So they're in the round of 8 right now. Not a great run at Vegas last week, and obviously not a good run so far today at Homestead. So they might be in a must-win situation at Martinsville next week to get to the championship 4 for the Owners' title. But if that does happen, obviously that would be something to watch as well. But again, he is in 19th place as he just passed Ty Gibbs, who might have had a problem there. Gibbs was up to 5th on that restart. He is now back to 20th in the running order. Both Bell and Elliott passed him this last lap. So not sure what's happening to Ty Gibbs, but it can't be anything good. Gibbs back to 24th, a lap down now. So yeah, something has happened to Ty Gibbs. They're on a commercial break right now, so I'm not sure exactly what has happened. And it looks like it may be pit stops because Kyle Larson is dropped from the race lead as well. So it looks like Larson, Byron, Blaney on pit road as well as Ty Gibbs. So that is why we are seeing those guys drop in the running order randomly. So again, we are on a full screen commercial break right now, but we do have green flag pit stops going on, middle portion of stage 2. Keselowski consumes the race lead for the time being. But again, Bell, Byron, Blaney, Larson, and others are on pit road. And as soon as they cut back from break, you'll get to listen into the pit stop reports. And here you go.
Next round of pit stops underway here in the 4x400. You see the 5 car of Kyle Larson into pit road. Still needs help from the problem he had earlier. 2 tied up against the wall. You saw the 12 of Ryan Blaney as well. He needed a little bit of adjustment, Marty.
Dave Christopher Bell continued the tight conversation with Adam Stevens. He fell back to 18th before he came to pit road. Stevens making the call to come earlier on this side. He said it's free on entry, but I'm absolutely plowing everywhere else. Martin Truex Jr., much better this run. He said the car is tighter on this run. That's a good thing. He had hoped it would hold on longer as well, and that actually did happen for Truex. And with this long run, which should be with 49 to go here in stage 2, that should really play to his advantage. Tyler Reddick said, we also had better long run speed here. I need to be a little bit freer so I can run the wall the way I want to. And Brad Keselowski keeping it in the top 5 all day long today. So the car just lost a little bit of grip the later they went.
All right, Dave Burns, I'll fire the question at you. Is the 11 going to stay out again like we saw in stage 1?
So far, it is at this point. We'll see what happens to Denny Hamlin next. But remember, they liked the data they got last time. Would it be the winning strategy? They don't quite know, but they could know it.
So there you have it right there. Denny Hamlin continues to stay out on the racetrack. Quite a few others still on the racetrack right now as well. Kyle Larson, who is already pitted alongside Brad Keselowski, are running 9th and 10th right now. Ryan Blaney leapfrogged Byron on pit road in the running order as well by pitting. I think they pitted at the same lap, so good job by the 12 team having a fast stop under green flag conditions to get them that spot despite pitting on the same exact lap. Again, Byron was ahead of Blaney in the running order prior to their stops. 16 cars currently on the lead lap, but again, quite a few still on pit road or having yet to pit, so we'll have more cars on the lead lap if we end up cycling all the way through. Daniel Suarez currently on pit road, so now that just leaves 7 cars that have yet to make their stage 2 pit stops. Once again, only 9 sets of tires for these teams. Doesn't seem to be much of a problem today considering we haven't had many cautions. Just that one caution for Stenhouse spinning at lap 76, which ended up bleeding into the stage 1 break. So one caution so far today for most of these teams. that have pitted, or actually every team that will end up pitting at some point during the middle portion of stage 2, it'll only be their third stop. So they'll still have 6 sets of tires left the rest of the way. So that should be plenty, even if we get a plethora of cautions, because we have seen, again, a lot of tire fall off as expected in this one. Not as much tire fall off with these Cup cars pretty much at every track compared to the Truck or the Xfinity Series, just with the tire itself on this next-gen car and the way Goodyear has to build the tire to compensate the race car. But we are still seeing quite a bit in this race nonetheless. Again, 2.1 seconds so far is the fall off for Denny Hamlin from his fastest lap on this last restart at lap 87 to his most recent lap ran right now of a 35.230. So again, 2.1 seconds is the difference in Hamlin's current lap that he just ran and the fastest lap for him during this exact green flag run. We are at lap 42 at the line for Hamlin, so currently as far as green flag laps ran, I think they restarted at lap 6 in the stage, so looking at 36 laps into the run to have that 2.1 seconds of fall off. It says 41 on NBC's graphic, but that's since they last pitted. Again, that's not compensating the caution laps. Bubba Wallace is now on pit road.
Tuesday out. That's way too early for us. So this is about what they did last time. Kind of came in between everybody. The car was much better at this point for Bubba Wallace, as he continues to make better lap time than he was when it was so icy out there for him.
It's a lot of smoke coming out of the right.
Harrison Burton, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. also on pit road. They were both a lap down. Lead lap cars that still have to pit are just Austin Cindric, Kevin Harvick, Chase Elliott, and Denny Hamlin. Brad Keselowski getting by Michael McDowell. McDowell, I guess, still has to pit too. He's just no longer in the top 4 or 5 position. Same for Kyle Busch in 6th, who also has to pit yet. Kyle Larson's made his way up to 4th place in the running order, just past Austin Cindric on those much fresher tires. Larson's gap over Keselowski is up to about 4 seconds now. I think prior to the pit stops, it's about 1.7 seconds. Keselowski did stay out a lap or two longer than Larson, which allowed for that lead to gap quite a bit. And now Ryan Blaney looking to the inside of Brad Keselowski right now. Can't quite get underneath him through 3 and 4, but it almost looks like Blaney may be faster at this point in the run than the 6, or at least is pushing faster at the very least. Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch on pit road. Throwback paint scheme to Kevin Harvick's 2014 championship run when he had Budweiser as his primary sponsors throughout the course of that season. That was his first year with SHR, and it was his only season in which he had won a championship in the NASCAR Cup Series. And, of course, at that time, Homestead was the season finale, so that's why they chose this race to run that throwback scheme. Pretty cool of Budweiser to hop back on the car for that one as well, to have the same exact scheme he had that day. Denny Hamlin gives up the lead. He's on pit road.
He was about 10th, 11 seconds back when the pit cycle started with the leaders. So we'll see, first of all, can the 11 have a clean stop? Dave, we'll see if they do a little better than last time.
Yeah, we're going to watch especially on that left rear. That's what the trouble was last time. So as he comes around this couple, does the nut stay in the gun? It's magnetically attached. Yes, it does. Back on her. That's a much better stop for Denny.
10.6 seconds stop that time. Some of the faster stops today I've seen from Larson or Byron and that Hendrick crew that is just always so fast on pit road, especially since these next-gen cars, it seems like they've been the quickest on pit road, seemingly time in and time out. They've been in the low 9s, around 9.2 to 9.3 seconds. Larson has retaken the race lead through the cycling of green flag pit stops, a 3.4-second gap he has built up right now over Brad Keselowski in 2nd. Ryan Blaney sits in 3rd place, William Byron in 4th, Martin Truex Jr. is 5th, Tyler Reddick in 6th, Ty Gibbs 7th, Ross Chastain in 8th, Austin Dillon in 9th, and A.J. Allmendinger rounds out the top 10. Joey Logano in 11th, Corey LaJoie in 12th, Chase Briscoe 13th, Eric Almirola 14th, Christopher Bell is 15th, Eric Jones 16th, Denny Hamlin 17th, 18th place is Ryan Preece, Bubba Wallace 19th, Daniel Suarez 20th, Michael McDowell in 21st, Austin Cindric 22nd, Kevin Harvick in 23rd. 24th place is Austin Cindric now, so Kyle Busch is up to 23rd and Harvick to 21st. So there was some changing in the running order that last lap. Behind Cindric is Michael McDowell in 25th, Chris Buescher still in 26th, Justin Haley 27th, Ty Dillon 28th, Alex Bowman 29th, Harrison Burton in 30th, Ryan Newman 31st, Todd Gillen 32nd, Josh Bilicki in 33rd. 34th place is John Hunter Nemechek still, JJ Yaley 35th, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in 36th place. Kyle Larson has led 63 laps and counting from the race lead, as we've currently still had 7 different drivers lead at least 1 lap in this race today. 13 lead changes amongst those 7 different leaders, still sitting at 1 caution in the race, making for an average race speed of 137.63 miles an hour through the first 128 completed laps. 138 to go, still a little over half the race remaining. You're listening live to the Forever 400 at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you haven't yet, as we continue our live commentary coverage.
Broken toe link sends the 47 spinning, bringing out the caution right before the end of stage 1, and then under yellow, the 5 of Larson, the winner of the first stage.
Comes off pit road for the 11 here. See right there. Looks like, what are we looking at there?
The nut?
The nut, yeah.
One nut came off.
So they're trying to chase that down, stick that back on the left rear. Just a little bit of time cost on that 11 car. Now they're working to try to repair the gun itself.
Yeah, clean up that socket. That one single nut stays in there with a magnet. If you bang the wheel, it comes off. Or right there, maybe there's a burr. It didn't let the magnet seal it all the way. It only cost, look how quick it was. 2.5 seconds. That was 8 spots for Denny Hamlin. Now here's Denny Hamlin right here. He was the last car to pit. Remember, he was running about 11th at the start of the cycle. Now he's 15th, 21 seconds behind. But you see how quickly he's moving through traffic. Fastest car on the racetrack every lap. That last lap, over a half a second faster than the leader of Larson. So he should continue to move up through the field. What he needs now is for these last 34 laps of this stage to run clean and green. He does not want to see a yellow.
Hamlin running in the 14th position. Let's go through the field, and guys, let's take it. We'll start with you, Jeff Burton, and the 54 of Ty Gibbs.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs, see, he started in 9th position, all the way down to 25th. Pitted early this sequence, got stuck in traffic, came down pit road a little bit early, trying to get away from that traffic. Now solidly in the top 10. Continually see this car and this driver racing in the top 10, just trying to clean a few things up so they can get better finishes.
3-car Austin Dillon right behind him here in 8th place. Had a great qualifying effort, 6th. Been able to hang right around the top 10. Some great speed in this car all day long. Trying to close it out today. It's been a tough year for this team. No wins, only 1 top 5 finish. So they'd love to be able to get a top 5 today. If you can't win, you want to finish on a strong note this year. They're having a great run today.
Well, you mentioned speed. That's what the one of Ross Chastain has brought both last week at Las Vegas and this week at Miami. This is the driver that kind of had a quiet summer, then jumped into victory lane at Nashville with an impressive run. That kind of disappeared again. He made the playoffs, but was unable to continue into the round of 8. I thought he had car enough to at least compete last week. Another fast car for the one here in Miami.
Just behind Chastain, running in the top 10 is A.J. Allmendinger, and so many questions still out there. Will he run in the Cup Series? Will it be the Xfinity Series next year? Well, that decision may have been made, or at least helped to be made, when he, a couple races back, won at the Charlotte Roval, and it was a huge emotional win for A.J. Allmendinger as he got out of the car and said, you just never know when you're going to win your next race at the Cup Series.
Joe Logano out of the playoffs, a disappointing year, not the number of wins, not the speed that they normally have, but a backup car today. Really nice job, sitting there running in 11th place. A nice recovery for a team that, honestly, since the playoffs have started, have run better than they did in the regular season, but just not good enough against this tough field.
Corey LaJoie running back in 12th place. A great run for this team. They've really worked hard. Spire has made a big commitment to get better this year. The results are there. At this particular racetrack, though, they have not finished in the top 20 in the last 3 races, so definitely want to be able to close it out today with a great result. But this 17, they're on the upswing. Big things happening for them next year as well.
Love to see this team get better and better here. You see Hamlin coming by with those a little bit fresher tires right behind the 7. A pair of SHR teammates, right? We have Chase Briscoe at the 14, Eric Amarola in the 10. You mentioned an upswing for Spire. You know, I think for SHR, having a couple of these Fords inside the top 15 is an upswing. It's definitely been a little bit of a down year for Stewart-Haas Racing. I know it's not the year they wanted to send Kevin Harvick off. These are his teammates here. But, you know, it takes a long time to make gains, Rick, and sometimes they're not obvious. But when I see Briscoe and Almirola in a race that's had very few yellows, you just have to have good cars. Not a lot of gimmicks to run inside the top 15 today. They brought fast enough Fords to do it.
28 laps still remaining in stage 2, and already, after only 137 laps have been run, there have been more lead changes this race than the entire race here last year, where there were only 11 lead changes. And the reason why there weren't many lead changes last year was because the driver of the 5 led 199 laps, and here, maybe a little bit too close to the wall. With his lead right now, he's got a 5.6-second lead, Steve, as crew chief. Are you going to tell him, hey, you don't need to be running inches off the wall right now?
No, with a win in the bank. I'm telling you, let's get to a 10-second lead, 15, 18. I want to demoralize the field. I want the field to think there's no chance they can beat us for a championship in Phoenix. This is our moment. We won a week ago. This race doesn't matter, so to me, it's going to matter more. Because if you win the race that you don't need to win, that is really doubling down.
I think, though, that with that win in the bank, he can take those risks. He can push it a little harder. Everyone else has got to keep that car straight to try to get to the end of this stage and the end of this race, while he can take a little bit bigger risks than the rest of the field.
And he's doing it. William Byron, they're sliding in front of Keselowski. So it's Larson, Blaney, Byron, Keselowski, and Truex, the top 5.
26 laps to go in stage 2, and a quick rundown of the top 10. Once again, Kyle Larson leads, 5 seconds ahead of Ryan Blaney in second. William Byron in third, Brad Keselowski falling to fourth. Mark Truex Jr. is in fifth. Tyler Reddick in sixth, Ty Gibbs in seventh, Austin Dillon eighth, Ross Chastain ninth, and Denny Hamlin back up into 10th place. That is your top 10 running order rundown. We have just over 125 current viewers watching. Appreciate each and every single one of you. Men and women that are watching, kids that are watching the stream here today, appreciate it. 68 likes on the stream so far. Our goal is 150. We have plenty more than 68 people watching, so definitely hit that like button. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content if you haven't yet. Over 60% of viewers on the channel over the last 30 days are not subscribed, so definitely be sure to do so we can get to that goal of 5,000 subscribers before the season's end. Started the channel in hopes of hopefully one day getting a job in the NASCAR realms, and started doing live commentary streams right out of the gate. Not with these specifically real NASCAR races, but on the video game side of things. And although I still game during the course of the week, these are the most important streams throughout the course of the week to build my repetition of commentating, of getting used to reading off, stats and building up the everything that I need to do to be able to bring these streams to you guys every single weekend. So I appreciate that. Each and every like, each and every subscriber goes a long way into doing that. And hopefully one day maybe getting my dream of commentating real NASCAR races over the course of the real realms of the world, other than, just in my apartment at the laptop, being at the track every single week. That is the ultimate dream job for me, so I appreciate all the support you guys have given me up to that point. As far as this stream goes, we'll take a quick little ad break, and then we will get back into the rest of Stage 2. Also, be sure to vote for who you think will win today's race. Usually we close this poll at the end of Stage 2. We're going to leave it open to lap 200 because I didn't get it up until the very start of the race. So we didn't really have much of a pre-race show for this one here today. So Kyle Larson leads that poll. 79 votes have been casted so far, but again, you have until lap 200 to vote there, and we are currently at lap 140. So you got 60 more laps, 143, 57 laps to still place that vote. But Larson leads the poll so far at 33%, other at 28%, Mark Truex Jr. 20% of the votes, and William Byron with 19%. Larson dominating the race so far as he did a season ago. Bill, thanks for tuning in. Why does Elliott have the playoff symbol? It's because the Owners' Championship, the number 9 car, is still in the Owners' title. Keegan, you have a car to show us. I do have a car to show you guys, but that is not until the end of Stage 2 when we do those diecast showings. Random_21, thanks for tuning in as well. Don't have NASCAR Fantasy? Well, you can get into it, and you got a chance to win a couple tickets to your NASCAR choosing. Inside Uranus, who was in the chat earlier, has won the regular season title the last 2 years, so he can prove to you that it is a legitimate thing that you will get 2 tickets to any NASCAR race of your choosing if you win the league championship. So he was actually just at Las Vegas last weekend. That's why I say that, because that was a race he chose to go to. It's any race of your choosing, excluding the Daytona 500. Let me make that clear. I always say that. Some of the time I put that in there. Some of the time I don't, excluding the Daytona 500. The only reason is because those tickets are like a couple $100s for good seats. I want to make sure I get you guys good seats. I don't want to stick you in like the worst seat possible, the cheapest seat I can find. So I try to actually get good seats for that. There's some tracks there isn't a bad seat on the experience. Especially if it's your first race, I don't think you can have a bad seat. I've sat up real close to the fence before the first few races I've ever been to. It's just better to sit higher up as a pure racing fan because you can see the entire track. No matter how big the track is, you tend to usually be able to see everything unless you're at like a road course. But even then, there's certain corners where you can see a lot more of the track than others. So at least of the ones I've been to, I can kind of at least gauge off of that. The ones I haven't, I would probably have to guess a little bit, but I try to get you guys the best seats I can. Ryan Blaney has cut into that race lead on Kyle Larson over the course of the run. Some of that could be because Larson's backing off with less than 20 to go in the stage, but Ryan Blaney was 5.5 seconds off the lead when he first took over second from, at the time, Brad Keselowski. Now Brad's obviously back and forth, Byron's to third. But not only that, but Ryan Blaney now is 3.4 seconds off the lead. Larson did pick up a little bit that last lap and actually was about 12 one-thousandths of a second quicker than Blaney. So with that being said, it might have just been lap traffic for a few laps that could have costed Kyle Larson. He has lapped more cars in this stage than what he did in stage 1. Granted, he's been leading for more laps in stage 2 than stage number 1, so that is another reason why we've seen more cars go a lap down. Currently, 22 cars on the lead lap. I think at the end of stage 1, we had 26 cars on the lead lap. Chris Buescher's made his way to 26th place. Unfortunately, obviously, with so many cars going a lap down, he's no longer in the free pass position, so it's going to be very tough for Chris Buescher to get back into this race and try to cut into that points deficit, which will, again, more than likely put him in a must-win situation going into the next round of the playoffs. The points as we run right now, with the 8 playoff drivers remaining in the hunt for the championship, again, Kyle Larson advanced to the next round already. So second in points right now is William Byron, who is only plus 21. That's not a guaranteed lock by any means if he has problems at Martinsville, although Hendrick Motorsports has been very good there with the next-gen car. Still, you just never know what can happen. A caution the wrong time. Maybe if you have to pit under green at any sort of circumstance against something random, could always happen. It is racing after all. Martin Truex Jr. is third in the standings right now at plus 9 points above the cutoff line. And we have a tie for fourth between Ryan Blaney and Denny Hamlin based off of where they are running in this race right now. Now, Hamlin is in ninth, and he does have fresher tires than a lot of the cars around him, so he is more than likely going to get a couple spots before the end of the stage yet, so that'll probably put Hamlin above the cutoff line. But Blaney's in second. He's closing in on Kyle Larson slowly but surely through the lap traffic or whatever the case is. So if Blaney goes on to win this race, Hamlin's going to be below the cutoff line regardless of how many points he ends up getting based off of how he has done so far in the race, scoring a 6th place finish in stage 1, currently in 9th. Not quite as good here in the late going of stage 2. So we'll have to wait and see how that is going to unfold. Tyler Reddick is also at minus 11 points. Christopher Bell, minus 17 points. And Chris Buescher, again, minus 47 in that must-win situation, pretty much at Martinsville, because I don't see him digging out of that hole here today. 2.5 seconds is the difference between Larson and Blaney at the front of the field. Those playoff drivers are running first through third of Larson, then Blaney in second, Byron third. Martin Truex Jr. is in fifth, Tyler Reddick is sixth, Denny Hamlin in ninth, and then the only two outside the top 10 are Christopher Bell in 20th, and as I mentioned, Chris Buescher in 26th. Chase Elliott's in 19th place. Again, that 9 car still up for the owner's title. Martin Truex Jr. has caught Brad Keselowski in the running order. A little battle for fourth going on with 13 laps to go in stage 2 to this point, as they are running over 8 seconds off of the race lead. Keselowski's faded a little bit since green flag pit stops. He was only about 1.5 seconds behind Kyle Larson leading into the green flag stops middle of stage 2. But now he is more than 8 seconds off the lead and has obviously dropped a couple positions in the running order and in danger of losing another spot to Martin Truex Jr. He's going to have a couple second gap between Truex and Reddick, so if he does lose a spot to Truex, hopefully it is quickly going to happen. He doesn't put up too much of a battle to allow the 45 and the 54 to close in on him a little bit more. Mentioned Hamlin, fastest car on the racetrack right now with those fresher tires, only 0.3 of a second quicker than Larson that last lap, though. And Ryan Blaney that last lap was about 2 to 0.03 of a second quicker than Larson. I don't know, again, if that is because of lap traffic or not. Obviously, when you're not at the racetrack, the camera's only on the leaders for X amount of laps, and they kind of rotate throughout the course of the field, so it's hard to tell for sure if lap traffic is necessarily holding Larson up or whatever the case. But again, that lead was 5.5 seconds on Blaney when Blaney first took over second place. I'm not sure exactly what lap that was on, but it was post green flag pit stops, which only took place about 30 laps ago. So in the span of about 30 laps, he's closed in 3.5 seconds. Because now he's only 2 seconds off the lead, and he was a full half a second quicker than Larson that last lap. Larson ran a 35.822, which was the slowest lap of anybody in the top 25. So you'd have to assume it's lap traffic that is holding Kyle Larson up. I don't think he's clipped that much, and that has to be the case because he just pulled out a line to pass Kyle Busch in the bottom lane through 1 and 2, but as he slides up, he's not clear. So it definitely is lap traffic that is holding Larson up here late in the second stage, and Blaney is closing in on Larson for the race lead as they come up on 9 laps to go in stage 2. And don't forget about William Byron in third as well. He's also closing in on Larson, just like Blaney. He's a full second behind Blaney, but only 2.6 seconds off of Larson. 3 lap cars right in front of the 5 car, and they're pretty much occupying the bottom, middle, and top lane. So wherever Larson goes, he's going to have to deal with dirty air. And anytime he's coming off the wall, while Blaney can run the wall from further behind, not having dirty air yet, he's obviously going to close down the straightaways with more straightaway speed. So Larson kind of boxed in here. Nowhere to go. All these drivers at the tail end of the lead lap don't want to fall lap down to the end of the stage. Those drivers being Kyle Busch, Austin Cindric, and Ryan Preece. So Larson not in a very good spot here to try to hold on to the track position with 8 laps to go in stage 2. Larson back to the wall on that outside lane. Has to run about a half a lane off of it because Cindric's all the way against it. Blaney has to peel to the bottom lane through turns 1 and 2 to try to get by another lap car of Daniel Suarez, it looks. Larson to the inside of Ryan Preece through 3 and 4. Also trying to make a pass. He is not going to be able to do so. Larson very loose in the bottom. Had to lift a lot. Big momentum loss for the 5. He comes out 2 to 3 car lengths behind Preece on the front straightaway. 7 to go in the stage. And Blaney is now just 1.1 seconds off the race lead. Larson again to the bottom. Preece goes to the middle. He's going to be very defensive of Kyle Larson. Not only wants to hang on to the lead lap, but remember, these two kind of had a run in a little bit earlier in the season. Drivers tend to not forget those kinds of things. Race car drivers tend to be hard-headed most of the time. I say that as a former race car driver, but I also like to think I'm not very hard-headed, so maybe that's not an accurate representation of what a race car driver is. I'd say maybe behind the wheel they're hard-headed, not so much outside the race car. That'd probably be a better description. That would probably make more sense. Needless to say, though, Blaney is closing that gap. I mean, at least a 10th quicker lap, if not more. Truex still has not gotten by Brad Keselowski. Denny Hamlin passed Reddick the last lap for 6th. He's going after Truex for 5th. And with Keselowski within sights, this can move Hamlin up to 4th if he can get by the 6th car. Hamlin slides way up in front of the 19 car. Definitely clear. Keselowski's got a lapper in front of him, which I believe may be Eric Jones in the 43. It is not Eric Jones. It looked like his car, but Jones is in 14, so I'm not sure what colors that car is exactly. They change paint schemes every week, so sometimes it's kind of hard to tell. Especially drivers that don't necessarily run up towards the front every single week. Looks like it's the 77 of Ty Dillon. Hamlin did get by Keselowski pretty quickly. Hamlin 7 seconds off the lead. 4 to go in stage 2. He's not going to have a chance to catch anybody else. Blaney to the inside to get by Suarez again. He's been trying to get by that 99 car for a while now. I think Daniel's got slightly fresher tires, which is making it tough for the 12. But even though he's struggling to pass Suarez, he's still reeling in Larson. Same goes for that 99 car. Larson's going to have a shot to try to win this stage still because the 99 is kind of holding up the 12. But once Suarez gets by Larson, that's when it'll be game on. And right there was the chance. Suarez to the outside of the 5. He took away Larson's line. Blaney gets to the lead on the inside with 3 to go in stage 2. He's going to clear him into the corner. Larson to the outside. Blaney all the way on the bottom. Going to have to slide up. He might have taken a little bit too long to do so. Side by side for the lead off turn 2. Blaney's going to move up, and he's barely clear. Thought he waited too long. He did not. Ryan Blaney to the lead for the first time today at Homestead. It took the entire stage 2, at least all but 2 laps of it. But he finally gets out in front of Kyle Larson. That's a big, big point there for Blaney, even if he doesn't win this race. And he is quickly pulling away from Larson. Byron's going to reel that 5 car in. Larson's tires faded too much over the course of the run. Maybe he pushed it a little too hard getting out to that big of a lead. Byron's going to get to second. Blaney's riding up near the wall. He doesn't want Byron to catch him, so he's going to do whatever it takes to try to get this stage win and then go from there. Larson in third. Down to the bottom groove. Not sure what's going on here with Kyle Larson. He is slow, and he may be coming to pit road. No, he is not. Just a really low exit to turn 4. That car just does not look the same. So Larson dropping off the pace as he loses the lead. He falls to third. He's going to remain in third to the end of the stage as Denny Hamlin's still a few seconds back. Kyle Larson way off the wall, maybe just trying to take care of the car at this point because of how ill-handling it is. Suarez trying to get back by Blaney. I think Blaney got back by the 99 that last lap. Suarez with the slide job on the 12. Going to slide all the way up, and he almost clipped him in the left rear. That would have been bad. But he does not. He slides in line behind him. Suarez will get the free pass at the stage end, and Ryan Blaney's going to steal stage 2 away from Kyle Larson on a very, very long green flag run. No cautions in that second stage. It took the entirety of stage 2 for Blaney to work himself to the lead, but he got there in the nick of time. William Byron finishes second in the second stage. Kyle Larson third. Denny Hamlin fourth. Brad Keselowski fifth. Martin Truex Jr. sixth. Tyler Reddick seventh. Ty Gibbs eighth. Austin Dillon ninth. And Joey Logano rounds out the top 10 at stage 2. So that is your stage 2 results of the Forever 400 at Homestead-Miami Speedway. We'll take an ad break here, and then we will have the diecast showing for stage 2 once we get the pit stops in for the second stage. You're listening live on KRC. Fifth stage win of the year for Ryan Blaney, which will put him 6th. Make that tied for 7th, actually. Tied for 7th most stage win on the season there for Ryan Blaney. As he wins stage number 2 at Homestead. I mean, you talk about a guy heating up at the right time. He also won a race in the last round. My guy makes it to the championship 4. I felt fairly tame for the most part after his Talladega win. I don't know if that's because I've seen him win at Dega 3 times now. I definitely seemed like I was more excited on the stream when he won the 600 this year for whatever reason. Maybe it was because I was more tired that day. I don't know. But I'll tell you what, if he wins this, I am going to be absolutely ecstatic. I mean, I'm not going unbiased here. It comes to I usually, go unbiased with these race broadcasts as much as I can, but it's going to be hard to hold that one in. Being a Blaney fan. The name Blaney I've been a fan of well before Ryan came into the sport of NASCAR. For those of you that don't know, I've told this story many times on the stream, so if you're a regular to the channel, you probably already know, and you're like, oh, this guy's talking about Blaney again. No, whatever the case is, the original story of why I'm a Ryan Blaney fan is because I grew up going to dirt races a lot during the summertime with my grandparents. in Northwest Ohio. The Blaney name's kind of synonymous with Ohio. That's where they're from. They're from Eastern Ohio, from, like I mentioned, Northwest Ohio, but they traveled a lot. They raced a lot. Obviously, Dave was in NASCAR growing up. I would watch him. He wasn't necessarily my favorite driver growing up because he wasn't really like winning. He never won. He never won a Cup race. He did win an Xfinity race in Charlotte a long time ago. I can't remember if that was 05 or 06. But he definitely beat Matt Kenseth that day. That was pretty cool. But needless to say, the Cup Series side, though, never really had a successful career. So I never really rooted for him as much as what I have Ryan Blaney. I know that might seem a little biased. And plus, when you're younger, you usually don't root for underdogs as much. I feel like usually, younger fans tend to gravitate towards somebody that wins a lot more. So for that reason, I probably never rooted for him as much. But, watching his uncle, Dale Blaney, race locally a lot, he was always my favorite. For whatever reason, he ran a red number 2 car for a long time in his sprint car racing career. I think he still does. And credit to him for racing locally and winning a lot locally. So that kind of made me a Ryan Blaney fan here today. And he's leading here late with a chance to make it to his first championship 4. We've got pit stops going on once again.
Blaney, the stage winner, said his car was still tight, needs a little help there. As for Kyle Larson, the car faded. He has that lap 7 to go. How many laps were left? That's kind of when it went away, Marty.
Martin Truex Jr. said that's the best we've been all day long. I was freer. That certainly helped. I need one more step to help us in turns 1 and 2. This pit crew may be using pit stall number 1 to their advantage, but it not over. If they actually lose some spots here on pit road for Truex.
So Ryan Blaney wins the race off pit road. Keselowski gets 3 spots gained there after losing those spots late in stage 2. We'll see what he can do with it. Kyle Larson loses another spot, falling to 5th in the pits. Tough break for him there, and I think I saw somebody gain 6 positions on pit road. We'll have to wait for our leaderboard to shake out to see exactly who that was, but Ryan Blaney will be the leader to begin stage 3. This was the 4th set of tires going on the car, so each team still has 5 sets, so no issues with that. Again, we have only had 2 cautions today, which pretty much are both the stage ends, although stage 1 ended a little early because of Stenhouse getting into the wall off turn 2, and then ended up having a flat right rear tire as a result, spun around. He is still in the race, so he definitely didn't have a toe link break, but as far as that goes, that was the only incident of the race thus far. That was at lap 76, bled into the stage end of stage 1, and now obviously we're at the stage end of stage 2. Once again, Ryan Blaney wins his 6th stage of the season for stage 2 at Homestead. Kyle Larson, though, has led 96 laps in this race today. Really faded, though, over the course of the final 20-ish laps of that last run. Blaney was able to run him down from 5.5 seconds back to take the lead, coming to 2 to go in the stage. And now Ryan Blaney is out in front to lead the way with around 100 laps to go in this race. This final stage is going to be a little bit longer, so you're going to have to take care of those tires just a little bit more, assuming that we see a one-stop strategy in this final stage. We did see pretty much everybody in the field pit twice in the Xfinity Series race yesterday. Now, that final stage was a little bit longer than this one. That was 110 laps. This is 102. Plus, you also got to factor in that there was more tire fall off. We saw the tire fall off of 4 seconds a lap versus here it's only been about 2.5 seconds a lap over a full run. So I say only, it's still a lot, but it's not as much. So I think one stop should be good enough. Also with the slightly shorter final stage, should be good enough to be able to make it to the end. So pretty much only one more pit stop is guaranteed the rest of the way today. Unless we get, obviously, any cautions in this final stage, which could happen. VP still hot. Thanks for tuning in. Could be worse. You could be in Ohio. Well, I am, unfortunately. I plan on moving out of Ohio at some point in time. Whenever it makes the most sense. Right now, it probably doesn't, but I want to move to Charlotte. Definitely pursue that dream of getting into the sport of NASCAR, but we'll see what this stage is going to bring here. Melinda Leverett, thanks for tuning in also. Some of the newer people in the chat. that have tuned in over the last closing laps of Stage 2 that I might not have shouted out yet. I'm not sleeping on the 5, but, we don't know if the car fell off over the course of the run and he'll be able to be just as fast on the short run again as he has been all day. We'll see that at the beginning of Stage 3. He's going to be in traffic. He's restarting 5th. And by the way, Logano was the driver that gained the 4 spots on pit road because he's going to be restarting 6th now. Was in 10th. Austin Dillon up to 7th. 3 teams been very good on pit road today. They've been getting him into the top 10 for these restarts as well at the beginning of the stages. So Blaney and Byron. Winner that isn't Kyle Larson, that is in the playoffs, will advance to the championship 4 today. So seeing Blaney and Byron, a win could lock them in. If they don't win, it is not a guaranteed lock for either one of those two from a point standpoint. It is a very tight field right now from 2nd through 7th in the point standings. Any one of those guys can point their way in or point their way out next weekend at Martinsville if they don't get the win today. Chris Buescher really the only one in a must-win situation as of right now. Bell is kind of leaning himself that way after not getting stage points in Stage 2, but we'll see how that, again, goes the rest of the way here. "96 laps to go at Homestead, based off of where we are at right now. Restarts have been thrilling so far of the 2 we've seen in today's race and as well as the rest of the racing we've seen this weekend. And if this goes caution-free in Stage 3 like it did in the Stage 2 of today's race, and then even the Truck Series race yesterday afternoon had a 60-lap green flag run to the end. We've seen some longer green flag runs to the finish in these races this weekend, so wouldn't be surprised if that was the case again here today. I think 23 laps was the green flag run to the checker in the Xfinity race. Not as long, but didn't have any super late cautions with a couple lap dashes or green-white checkers to the finish. Setting up for the restart here. Showing replay of Martin Truex Jr.'s pit stop. Very slow on the 19 team on the left sides. And that cost him a lot of spots on pit road. And obviously, he is one of the playoff drivers. He's going to be restarting in 11th. Drops him out of the top 10. Blaney electing the outside lane. Byron inside of row 1. Green flag back in the air. Stage 3 underway at Homestead. Ty Gibbs pulling well out of line. Defensive really for no reason there when you consider the fact it didn't look like LaJoie had that big of a run on him. It's going to cause an awkward angle for him into the first turn, but he still gets through the first corner pretty well. 3 by 3 by 3, about 4 or 5 rows through that first turn. Still door-to-door for the lead between Byron and Blaney into turn 3. Keselowski sits in 3rd. Larson trying to get back up there in the middle groove. He's side-by-side with Hamlin for 4th. Blaney side drafts Byron. Byron comes back up. They almost make contact on the front straightaway as they battle in turn 1. Clean air, so vital here. Who's going to get it? Byron slides clear of Blaney. Hamlin and Larson door-to-door. Not giving each other a lot of room on the backstretch headed into 3 as they battle for 4th. Tightly bunched set of race cars right behind them. Of Austin Dillon, Ross Chastain, and Martin Truex Jr. as well. Truex has the door closed between the 1 and the 3 in front of him. Blaney gets back to the inside off turn 4. Kind of out of nowhere on the 24 car. He's not giving up the battle. Byron pinched him off, getting into the corner. Blaney goes wide, almost forces the 24 into the wall. Tight battle for the lead between Byron and Blaney. I don't think they've touched each other this whole run, but they've come very close on a couple occasions. Between the side drafting and just how aggressive they're sending it into the corners. Blaney clear off 4. Byron with a run now off turn 4 from the high side. Blaney's going to go to the inside to try to break the draft and or block. And he's going to run the middle groove going into the corner. It's going to give Byron a little bit more leeway to the outside, but he actually kind of stayed more towards the middle anyway. And Blaney drives off through 1 and 2. Byron didn't get through that corner very well, and Ryan Blaney retakes the lead away from William Byron, who led 1 lap there before Blaney took the lead back from him following this restart. And now Blaney trying to get out ahead early in case Kyle Larson's gotten that car fixed up, as Larson still remains back in 5th. And Denny Hamlin, in fact, is up to 3rd. Don't forget about Hamlin either. He's closing the gap on Byron for 2nd place. Haven't really talked about Hamlin in contention for the win all day, but he did get up to 4th late in that 2nd stage, and now is up there with the leaders for really the first time today in 3rd. Larson still struggling to get by Keselowski for 4th as he's faded a bit. Hamlin to the inside of Byron through turns 3 and 4. Larson back underneath the 6 car for 4th place behind him. And Chastain in 6th, watching the battle between all those race cars currently. Larson is door-to-door with Keselowski into turn 1. Same goes for Hamlin and Byron. Hamlin on the inside. He'll slide up. He's clear. Byron to that middle groove again is not going to have enough of a run to try to cross him over. Hamlin to 2nd and trying to run down Ryan Blaney. Brad Keselowski remains in front of the one of Chastain, but Larson did clear him off turn 2, and Larson now moves to P4. Keselowski continues to drop in the running order as Chastain looks to the inside, trying to take over 5th place. Chastain going to slide up. He is clear. The 6 moves down, trying to cross him back over. Into 1 and 2. Keselowski's going to be clear. We'll see if the 1 car is going to be able to get back to him. He is not. Austin Dillon actually got underneath the 1. Chastain clears Dillon on the backstretch. He may try to slingshot Keselowski again. Great back and forth battle right now for position between the 1 and the 6. 5 of Larson all the way up near the wall, as close as he can get. Chastain going to swing back in front of the 6 again, nearly making contact. And Keselowski does not cut to the inside. I almost wonder if he got into the back of the 1 and pushed him more. Down the straightaway, Chastain with a defensive line into the corner, cutting to the inside, taking Keselowski's line away. Brad has to lift off of turn 2, and Austin Dillon's going to get underneath and probably get around him on the back straightaway as well. Was going to until Truex helped Keselowski out with a bump draft on the back straightaway, keeping the 3 and the 6 side by side. Launches a 6 into the corner too fast, and he ends up hitting the wall. Keselowski up against the fence in 3 and 4. Truex gets underneath them. Dillon obviously clear. Good run for Austin Dillon to 6th place. One of his better runs of the season. His teammate Kyle Busch has been outside the top 15 pretty much all day. Truex gets by the 6 of Keselowski after Brad led early at stage 1 and was running 2nd there for pretty much all of stage 2 up until the green flag pit stop, cycled back to 3rd and then fell back in the running order to 6th. Now Brad is in 8th. And Tyler Reddick is gaining a run on him and looking for that 8th place position as well. Hamlin closes in on Ryan Blaney, who won stage 2 and looked to be the new quickest car on the racetrack. Hamlin said, "No, I am just as quick, if not quicker than you." He's closing the gap down. And we're about to have a battle for the lead between the 12 and the 11 with about 86 laps to go at Homestead. But again, who's going to conserve their tires? Well, during this green flag run, when you consider the fact that a lot of these cars still have to run quite a ways to get to the end. Everybody still has to pit one more time, but remember, this stage is longer than the first 2 stages, so this tire stint on both the first and the second stint in this stage, if we go green all the way, are going to be longer. Hamlin on the outside through 1 and 2. Blaney did a great job in the middle groove that time. Hamlin didn't really close in on him much. Now Blaney's going to go to the outside. He's going to force Hamlin to have to come off the wall a little bit. He runs a half a lane off the wall, which really affected Hamlin, and Blaney's going to pull him through 3 and 4. And Hamlin's going to have to figure out a way to get just a little bit better up against the fence rather than just a half a lane off of it. He's going to cut all the way to the bottom to get all sorts of clean air. We'll see if he can round that a little bit better than Blaney. I doubt that that's going to be the case on the bottom. Haven't really seen that work well for many drivers all weekend. Doesn't matter what the series has been. And these are the 2 guys that are right on the cut line too. Hamlin and Blaney, first guy in, first guy out. As we run through most of the race today, they've both been up pretty much in the top 5, at least at top 6 at the end of the first 2 stages. But Blaney's been outpointing Hamlin by just a few points at a time and now leading the race, obviously. So This is big. Hamlin doesn't want to see Blaney win because then Hamlin's going to be the first driver above the cutoff line rather than Ryan Blaney. So this is a huge win for either one of them. Can't forget about Kyle Larson, who was trying to work his way up there, was back in traffic for one of the first times today outside of the initial start of the race. He passes Byron for third. Byron going to bump draft him there down the front straightaway, keeping his speed up. Larson runs into the middle of groove, knowing he didn't want to get all the way against the wall there. Make the same mistake Keselowski made a few laps ago when he was getting bump drafted down the straightaway, tried to stay on the outside at that extra speed and ended up in the fence. Brad again has fallen back to 8th place since. Ross Chastain up into the top 5 for the first time this afternoon as well. He's 2.8 seconds off the lead. So your top 10 here to begin stage number 3 with 80 laps to go. Ryan Blaney leads, Denny Hamlin 2nd, Kyle Larson 3rd, William Byron 4th, and Ross Chastain 5th. Austin Dillon in 6th, Martin Truex Jr. 7th, Brad Keselowski 8th, Tyler Reddick 9th, Christopher Bell is in 10th. Update on the playoff drivers where they are running right now. Blaney leads. Again, Hamlin 2nd, Larson 3rd, Byron 4th, Truex in 7th, Reddick 9th, Bell up to 10th. Good recovery for him. He was 18th at the end of stage 2. The only playoff driver not in the top 10 is Chris Buescher in 27th. Still 1 lap down as he's been for most of the race. And Chase Elliott for the owner standings for the 9 team is in 22nd. That is your running order right now for the highlighted drivers. Hit the like button on the stream if you have not done so. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Our goal was 150 likes on the stream. We're only at 77 right now with 80 to go. So be sure to hit that like button if you haven't yet. And I will see you guys on the other side of this ad break as you're listening live to the Forever 400 on KRC. Anthony Prey, Dale, thanks for tuning in. Didn't get the Stage 2 diecast showing off, so I'll have that for you guys right now. I had to show off the Kevin Harvick diecast with this being the Forever 400. Although this is not a number 4 car, this is one of my favorite Harvick schemes of all time, and definitely iconic for its own right. It is his Shell Pennzoil paint scheme that he ran. This specifically is from 2007, of course. Won the Daytona 500 with this number 29 car. At Richard Childress Racing, so I wanted to show this diecast off. I don't think I've shown this one off in a while on the stream. Maybe not even since the Daytona 500, but I know I've showed it off before. I'll show it off again. It's the Forever 400. Had to have a Harvick diecast for this diecast showing, and this is a 124 scale diecast, of course, as well. So there you have it, and hopefully Kevin Harvick has a good send-off in his final few races. He's very good at Phoenix, so there's a good chance he can have a good run in his final career race, to say the least. We'll see what he can do the rest of today and the next couple weeks. Currently, Kevin Harvick is 14th on the leaderboard. Kyle Larson closing the gap on Hamlin and Blaney right now, post-commercial break. Larson looking to the inside of Denny Hamlin for the second place position. Trying to get there off of turn 4. Kyle Larson is all over the back of Denny Hamlin. 77 laps to go. Each of the top 3 cars within 0.6 of a second of the race lead. Larson to the outside, pulls off the wall a little bit. Maybe he was getting a slight bit too tight. Trying to do something different, really, than those 2 cars in front of him, I bet. The longer this run goes, the less likely these teams are going to be able to run off the wall. Hamlin cuts to the bottom lane, in fact, this time. Not all the way to the white line, maybe a lane or 2 off of it. Larson to the wall, going to try to mount or charge on the back straightaway on Hamlin now. Hamlin's just doing something different. That's why the track position is so vital, because everybody wants to run the wall. And when you're in the dirty air behind somebody, it's harder to do that. Ryan Blaney having an easier time, at least until he gets to lap traffic, which is where Larson was struggling late in stage 2. Started to fade as a result. Larson again tried to go after Hamlin through 3 and 4, couldn't get around him. These two have a bit of a history with each other from this season alone. I'm sure Larson not going to cut Hamlin any slack if he gets close to clearing him. He will move up. Although you don't want to make, really any enemies going into the championship race, but at the same time you can understand why Larson would do that. Hamlin's wronged him a couple times. 4 wins earlier in the season, Pocono being one of them, the most recent in fact. And also at Kansas earlier this year. Hamlin continues to run that middle groove through turns 1 and 2. 3 and 4, he stays a little closer to the wall. Blaney and Larson running all the way against it. Larson as close as he could get without touching it there, and he's got to run. Into turn 3, this is going to be the best opportunity to pass the 11 car. He's going to sail it off into turns 3 and 4. If he can't clear, the idea is to hopefully stay side by side down the straightaway, pass him in 1 and 2. He will be able to clear him off the exit of the corner. Kyle Larson to second. And now Denny Hamlin going to push him down the front straightaway. He's not going to look to pass him. Probably realizes Larson's quicker, so maybe if Larson gets to Blaney first, then he can just kind of follow him up there and then try to stay within very close sight of Blaney from that point on. Blaney 9/10 of a second ahead of Larson. We'll see if the 5 car can continue to close that gap. That last lap, Larson, first lap after passing Hamlin, for second was about a 10th quicker than the 12. Not by much, but he is quicker. And we've seen that as he's gone from 5th to 2nd during this green flag run, 72 to go. This is a tight race between these top 3 for the beginning of stage 3. And if it stays this tight, we're going to set ourselves up for a thrilling finish. Other than Chastain, 1st, 3rd, and 4th in the running order, a win would grant them a Championship 4 opportunity at Phoenix in 2 weeks. A lot on the line here. All those drivers, point standing wise, if they were not leading, would be 2nd, 4th, and 5th. Obviously, with Blaney in the lead, they're 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in the standings. With Blaney leading, William Byron's plus 15 points, Denny Hamlin plus 5 above the cutoff line, Truex minus 5, Christopher Bell minus 19, Tyler Reddick minus 26, and Chris Buescher minus 59. 1 second lead for Blaney over Larson. He was a little quicker than Larson that last lap. He might have had a hiccup or had to come off the wall or something, but he was 0.2 of a second faster. The 12 was. 70 laps to go at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Once we get to lap 200, we will close the poll in the chat for who you think will win this race today. So be sure to cast your vote, as you only have a couple laps left to do so if you have not done so yet. Voting poll options are between Larson, Byron, or Truex. If you think anybody other than those 3 will win, you can vote for other. Larson has led the most laps, but Ryan Blaney taking control of things right now. The first driver of these to come to pit road is more than likely going to come out with the lead, and when you're the leader like Ryan Blaney, it's going to be tough to gauge exactly when the 5 and the 11 will pit. If you pit too early, then you have a chance like what Hamlin has been doing to pit longer into the run, trying to make up time. That way, it'll be interesting if Hamlin will actually do that now that he is up towards the front of the field with Larson and Blaney, because before he was further back and only has gotten up to as high as 4th in the running order. So that will be very interesting to watch if Denny Hamlin ends up pulling off the same strategy. Him and Chris Gabehart, his crew chief, will pull their same strategy they have tried. I don't know how much that's going to help in the final stage to consider it is longer than the first 2 stages. I don't know if that would help him more or hurt him more. It would definitely cause for a slightly bigger deficit to overcome, but then he would be gaining at an even faster rate than he was before, so take that for what you will. Bass Pro Shops cars battling for 6th between Truex and Austin Dillon. Truex holds the 6th place position for now. Showing a replay, it looked like Denny Hamlin got up against the wall through 3 and 4 that last lap, and now he is no longer in the picture for the lead, and we just talked about him, and what strategy he will decide to pull. Well, this is going to hurt any strategy because now he's 3.8 seconds off the lead, and it's the Larson-Blaney show at the front of the field. Less pressure now for Larson to perform his line, having to battle the car behind him. Now he's only battling the car in front of him, and he's on the attack. Blaney 4 seconds out ahead of where Hamlin's at, and now Byron's within a half a second of the 11 car. We'll see if this is going to hurt the performance in the 11 at all. After getting into the wall, your current top 5 with 66 laps to go. Ryan Blaney leads, Kyle Larson 2nd, Denny Hamlin 3rd, William Byron 4th, and Ross Chastain is in 5th. You're listening live on KRC. We will take an ad break here, and then we will continue our live commentary coverage. Be sure to like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. John Rogers, thanks for tuning in as well. Got a car sideways on pit road, 78. Josh Bilicki has spun, but we continue to stay green. Not sure how he spun. Like he just came up off the banking to make a late pit entrance for whatever reason and spun onto pit road. If he hit the inside wall, he very, very lightly hit it. Wasn't blocking pit road long enough to warrant a caution, so that is why we stay green. Bilicki in his pit box now. He was already a couple of laps down. So I'm not sure if maybe something broke on the car and he was trying to get it to pit road quickly. Maybe he got into the wall. In 3 and 4, drove off the wall to try to pit. Once he came off the banking onto the flat of the apron is when he lost control of his car. But luckily missed those tire barrels. That definitely would have warranted a caution if he ended up hitting those. 62 laps to go. Fuel window opens up in a couple more laps, but I don't expect anybody to necessarily hit pit road right away. Lap times between Larson and Blaney fairly equal that last time. Larson quicker, but only by 12 one-thousandths of a second. It is not much. And I think that's where the track position comes into play between the 5 and the 12. Whoever has it's going to be the driver with the advantage, I think, going into the final tire stint of the race. Larson quicker, though, this time by 0.2 of a second over Ryan Blaney, and the lead's down to just 0.7 of a second. 61 laps left. Ryan Blaney has never made the championship 4, but he has made the round of 8 in 3 of the last 4 seasons. 4 times total he has made the round of 8 of the playoffs, but never the championship 4. He finished second at Phoenix last season when it seemed that he had the quickest car. Didn't pass Joey Logano late, with Logano being the one competing for the championship. Didn't want to put extra pressure, and Logano was able to win the race in the championship. But Blaney very much could have won that race that day. So to say that he would not necessarily win the championship if he were in the championship 4 this year, I think would be maybe a false accusation. You'd have to probably write him in as one of the favorites for that race specifically, but to get there, he first obviously has to get there. And putting himself in a good opportunity right now, but we'll see if he can seal the deal over the final 60 laps of this race. Once again, 0.6 of a second margin of lead, for Blaney over Larson. A lot of Blaney's wins in his career have been very close. I think the 600 this year is like probably the largest margin of victory he's ever had. And this could be another close one here because it is very tough to tell between the 12 and the 5 who's quicker. I mean, it really is. The way Blaney ran him down late in that last run and the way they're pulling away from everybody else, it is just these two. Hamlin was there until he got into the wall several laps ago. He's still in third, but he's 4.5 seconds off the lead. And Byron, not quite faster than the 11, even after Hamlin got against the wall as well, as he's now a full second behind the 11 car in that battle for third. Chastain is more than 5 seconds behind Byron in the battle or lack thereof for fourth. Logano from this last restart is falling out of the top 10 back to 14th. Keselowski remains in 8th after losing a few spots on the restart. Again, points as they run with 59 laps to go holds William Byron 14 points above the cutoff line now. Denny Hamlin +4, -4 points for Martin Truex Jr., who is currently... He restarted outside the top 10, but he's made his way back up to 6th. Slow pit stop dropped him back to 11th, but making his way back up to about where he's ran most of the day, 4th through 6th. Christopher Bell -21 points, -26 points for Tyler Reddick, and Chris Buescher -57 points. Larson to the inside to get by the lap car of Michael McDowell. Might cost him time on Blaney, although Blaney's got 2 cars side by side, not that far in front of him, which is going to be costing him from a dirty air standpoint. Both those cars going to pull off the wall through 1 and 2. That's going to help the 12 car out at least for one corner. And Blaney's been right up against that wall pretty much this entire run. He has not made a mistake. We saw Larson graze it very lightly in stage 2 when he had a big lead. I don't think that affected the car much. We'll see. Brad Keselowski on pit road with 57 laps to go. A very early pit stop in the stage.
My center turn and all my center speed. So McCall doing something here. You see that wedge adjustment for Brad Keselowski, trying to get the car a little bit better. Martin Truex Jr. just told his pit crew, if we do not have a good stop here, we are done. He said it's so tight when we're back in traffic. Whatever you guys can do to help me out a little bit, I need the track position back that we lost. These pit stops happening under green on the early side of the window with 56 to go. We'll see how Truex and this 19 team answers the call after that stop last time under caution when they lost 5 spots.
So Blaney and Larson continue to stay on the racetrack right now. And again, it's going to be interesting to see which of those two are going to pit first and how much longer the next driver will run after they pit. Knowing that if they pit just one lap after them, they're going to lose time. So you might as well stay out. Chastain is on to pit road from the top 10. 1/8 of a second lead for Ryan Blaney. He's on the bottom groove. He's going to be coming into the pits. Here comes Kyle Larson behind him. Larson charging hard. Larson into the barrels at the front of pit road. Oh, Larson overcooks it into the pits. Heavy damage to the right front fender. Caution's out for the 3rd time. He was braking very late to pit the same lap as Blaney. He didn't want to lose extra time and blast the barrels at the front of the pit road wall. Huge caution for Ryan Blaney. He did get to the commitment line before Larson, obviously, because he was in front of him. Larson's going to pit his car. They're obviously going to have to repair a lot of damage, so I doubt that they're going to get him out on the lead lap. And if they do, they're going to have to buff that car out quite a bit. A lot of debris at the front of pit road from the barrels that Larson hit.
You see this.
Look how much he's gaining on him, and he has no choice but to turn right or run into the back of Blaney. He turns right and gets the end of the pit wall. Just way too much speed here.
Oh, he did get him.
Heavy damage with these barrels.
Yeah, you have to wonder, the pit road speed starts right there past the barrel, or right at the very, just past the barrels, about 10 feet. You have to wonder what speed was Blaney doing? That contact at the back of the left rear of the 12 probably is going to help things. It bowed out the quarter panel just behind the wheel. That's not a good thing aerodynamically, but I'm not sure that Blaney wasn't doing a good job getting on pit road. Maybe the 5 was actually cooking it on the pit road a little bit too much. Yeah, and Larson said, I just didn't expect him to slow down that much. So Larson didn't feel like he was going too quickly. Once he got to the position where he knew he was in trouble, now he's just locked up, and he's no longer about making pit road speed. It's just trying to avoid contact. But we see this. We see the effort by the teams to push the drivers. Pit road entry, in-lap, out-lap, that everybody's being measured in everything that they do, and that was Kyle Larson just trying to push. Now, check out the speed and the pointers. Here we go. Blaney's slowing down right here. So they're looking for pit road speed. I mean, Blaney looks to me that he's overslowing. I mean, he's almost to pit road speed. Yeah, he's 5 or 6 below pit road speed. You would think. I mean, it's hard to tell.
Pit road speed's 45, but you don't get busted until you go 54.9, right? So you really want to be going. You really want to be going.
50.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You want to be going 50.
So the question, Jeff, right, it's not 50 dead at the line. Sometimes, I mean, it's once again, it's a little bit of an art. You know, sometimes you're maybe 51 over the line, and then you slow down extra to give it back. It wasn't egregious by the 12 car, but it's also, I think the 5 would have made pit road speed. It didn't look like he was going too fast.
I have to agree with you, Steve. I think that was a little conservative on the 12, but the 5 was probably going to do just fine. He wasn't going to get busted on speeding, but just came in a whole lot more aggressive.
Well, even if the 5's going over speed, he's got that entire distance to get slowed down because it's time over distance. You have X amount of feet to run an average of 50 by 49.9 miles per hour. So you can come in speedy, you just got to get it slowed down.
Heavy damage to the 5. A good break for Blaney. 1, he didn't get spun on pit road, but 2, we'll confirm with NASCAR, but currently scoring shows him the middle of the lead lap, but the only lead lap car that has pitted, so he'll instantly become the leader of the race. Not so good for Truex, who'll be trapped a lap down.
Larson, who has led the most laps into the barrels at the entrance to pit road, bringing caution out here.
So caution out for the 3rd time today, first time in stage 3. Kyle Larson overcooking it into the pits as he tried to gain time on Blaney as they were pitting at the same exact time. And Ryan Blaney should be the leader on this next restart, but how much damage is on that right rear fender from Larson getting into him and then hitting the barrels, of course. So that is going to be the question. Larson's car is definitely damaged, and I would imagine that he's not going to have anywhere near the speed capable of being able to run up towards the front. He is also going to be a lap down, or 2 laps down, it looks like, for hitting the barrels. I'm not sure if he was actually busted for speeding or not either. Also, because of causing the caution, I don't know if he necessarily was at the commitment line when the caution came out and he still pitted his car, so that could be a penalty as well. But yeah, Larson definitely not on the lead lap anymore regardless. So his chances of winning are pretty much done. We do have to close that poll as we're just behind lap 200, and Larson is the vote to win this race for 2 of the fans. That is not going to happen anymore following this incident. So just ended the poll. Waiting to see the final results on that. And pop up in the chat. Come on. I was waiting for the rest of the poll results there, but I ended it and it hasn't shown back up in the chat at all. Let me go somewhere else. Maybe it popped up elsewhere. I don't think it actually ended. Well, I ended the poll. At least I think I did. I mean, if it's still up on your screen, it's not up on mine anymore, so I can't actually read off the rest of the percentages there, but Larson was ahead. Arena Sarah, thanks for tuning in. John Barber, also welcome to the stream. Why is Elliott running so far back? Him and Bowman are just off. Bowman's been like 30th or worse most of the day, and then Elliott's been pretty much between positions like 18 and 22 all day. It's not good. No major issues. They just don't have the cars that Larson and Byron necessarily had. There we go. Now we got the stats for the poll. 32% say Kyle Larson was going to win the race, 30% for other, 20% for Truex, and 16% for Byron. So pretty close there. They are under a red flag condition right now, so they can have the cleanup. Obviously, they're going to have to keep pit road closed, so they don't want to waste too many laps under caution here. So red flag conditions for the cleanup at the entrance of pit road after Larson hits the barrels.
See how quick it happens from in the car. Right, Larson just trying to gain. Felt like the 12 was going slower than he needed to be. And now he's just in big trouble. Just trying to get everything he can.
The
Take over for the 5.
Yeah, 5 day was complete. He went behind the wall and into the garage.
So now, other than the obvious winners and losers, which Larson being the biggest loser, because he's now out of the race, Ryan Blaney continued on to pit road, pitted, and with the yellow coming out, didn't go a lap down because everybody else was slowing down. So Blaney's service is done, and he's still on the lead lap. So when pit road does open, he's the only lead lap car that does not need to pit, so he will take over the race lead. Hamlin, Byron, Dillon, Reddick, they'll come to pit road, and we'll see who beats who off pit road. Either way, they'll line up behind the 12. Now, unfortunately, the loser in this situation, and bad luck chases this car. I'm somewhat baffled at the playoffs that the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. has had. Some, I think it's on them for decisions and speed, but this is purely just a bad break. They had serviced their car 1 lap ago, and now he'll take the wave around, But with 16, 17 cars in the lead lap, he's going to restart inside 50 to go, outside the top 15. I mean, I know we say you make your own luck, and I think at times the 19 has. But in this situation, Jeff, it's just bad luck, if you can believe it. It's awful.
Yeah, I just got, it wasn't a wrong decision. It just didn't work out for him, Marty.
Yeah, Jeff, but the pit stop did not help. Steve, I think you gave it a grade of a B. Martin Truex goes much lower. Here was the radio.
I ain't doing it no more. Sorry, I'm away. I don't care.
Truex, man, you can tell he is upset on the radio, Steve. So I'll ask you again. You're James Small. You gotta keep him in the game here, because if you look at where the points are right now, they're only one below the cut line, heading to Martinsville, where he has 3 wins. So Truex knows they got a great track coming up, but he's very frustrated right now.
Well, he's frustrated because first it was a slow pit stop, and then here I don't think he was frustrated with the pit stop right there. I think that was the reaction to the yellow. There's moments where you need to try to motivate your driver or coach your driver. Then there's other times that, all it's going to do is perhaps make him more angry. And I would have this as one of those times. I'd let it all cycle out. I'd let him try to cool off. There's no doubt Martin Truex Jr. is going to drive the wheels off this thing to the finish. So I would just physically tell him where we stand. When this all cycles out, we're this many below the cut line, you're in this position. In front of you, you're going to have lap down and lead lap cars who are for position, and then just be quiet and let him and the spotter go to work. With 50 to go here, you can have 3 or 4 more yellows, you can have more pit stops, anything can happen. But Truex already knows that, and I don't think Truex wants to hear that at this point.
Let's check in with Dave and the crew chief of the 12.
That is Jonathan Hassler. He saw all that go down. A couple questions to unwrap here. First of all, was that any different entry than before for Ryan under green? Is your car damaged, and do you think you'll cycle out to the lead here?
Yeah, I think Ryan had a pretty normal pit road entry there. I think the 5 was just a little hot. Ended up obviously missing it. We have a little bit of damage on the right rear, but it's nothing we're overly concerned about. So we'll should be able to stay out here and restart the lead.
We saw him working so hard at what Kyle Larson is good at. The best at, I would say. He's out of the race now. What does Ryan do from here on out to take it home?
Yeah, I think we just need to, manage the lead. It's certainly a long run, short run compromise here. So we'll have to fight a little bit early on to keep the lead, but certainly want to save some tires for the end.
Good day so far for the 12. We'll see how it pans out, guys.
All right, Steve. So currently, under this red flag condition, it's the driver of the 11, Denny Hamlin, who is leading the race. Let's see if we can get him on the radio.
Let's try to chat here. Hey, DH, it's the NBC booth. You got a copy? Well, we were all wondering what kind of strategy we were going to see out of the 11 here in this final green flag cycle, but with this yellow, it's kind of cut short. Blaney looks like he had his service, but you'll lead the cars to pit road. What do you think about the chances of the 11? It's looked good so far this race.
Yeah, definitely battle back today for sure. 12 strong. I think, we've got one of the best cars on the short run, so we see if we can have a good stop here and then challenge on the restart. If we get out front, it'll be tough, but certainly think we got a shot at it.
How do you manage this final run and maybe multiple final runs? Risk versus reward. I know a win is the golden ticket, but points, Martinsville, so much still ahead of you. Is it all the here or the now, or do you look ahead to next week and try to score what you can?
Yeah, I'm trying to do the best I can here for sure. Focus on Martinsville, 2 in a row. It's about any other race. I try to manage it the best I can, manage risk. I'm doing an awful job right now, getting in the wall, cut tires at risk. So it just kind of need to be aware of what's going on and get the best finish out of my car possible.
All right, we appreciate you taking the time. I'd bring you a straw if I could, but I can't quite get you a straw from here. All right, there you go. That's even better. Good luck the rest of the day.
Yeah, he's making it difficult to grab a drink there without a straw. But Denny Hamlin is out in front. A red flag condition for this. The track cleanup continues after Larson hit the barrels at the entrance of pit road. Sand everywhere.
Well, you heard it's still under red flag conditions here at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. Denny Hamlin currently a race leader, but Ryan Blaney will be the leader once we get back to racing because he is still in the lead lap, was on pit road when the caution flag ended up coming out. Martin Truex Jr., as you heard, was trapped a lap down. Same goes for, I think, Brad Keselowski. Yeah, Brad Keselowski also a lap down. Free pass position would be Ross Chastain, who also pitted early, but because it's a free pass spot, he'll still have to line up at the tail end of the longest line of the restart behind all the lap cars. So Chastain's still in the lead lap, but obviously still not benefited with this caution because he has lost a lot of track position from it. He was one of the first cars onto pit road. Currently in this race, Kyle Larson has led the most laps, 96 laps led. Ryan Blaney has led 49, second most. Blaney won stage 2. Kyle Larson won stage 1. They've each led 3 different times. Blaney will lead a 4th different time once we get to the restart and get back to racing. Denny Hamlin has also led 3 different times for 21 laps, mainly during green flag pit stops, but has looked competitive in this final stage other than when he got into the wall early in stage 3, lost some track position, so we'll see if he can get back up in contention as well. William Byron's been in the top 5 all day. He's led for 14 laps. And let's see here. Bubba Wallace led early in the race for about 9 laps. Truex started on the pole. He's led 10 laps in the race. Reddick led 1 during green flag pit stops, I believe. So those are, and then Keselowski led on speed there for a little bit in stage 1 before Larson got his first lead of the day. 16 laps led for Keselowski. 8 different drivers have led at least 1 lap in the race so far. And we have seen a total of 19 lead changes. Still working on the entrance to pit road.
Barrels, he is out of the race and now standing by with Kim.
Now we saw Kyle chase Ryan Blaney onto pit road. Walk us through what happened and what was going through your head in that split-second decision making.
Oh, I haven't seen a replay. I'm sure that I was just maximizing all I could. I didn't expect him to slow down so early. I was just trying to get to the yellow line as quickly as possible and felt like I was in control. And then from my vantage point, it slowed down a lot. But, I mean, from there, it just looks like I vomited in there. So I just need to look at some data and see where I was relative to pit road speed and all that. But I hate it for Ryan more than anything. It's just he was doing a super good job out front, and his team's been doing a really good job throughout the playoffs. And that was not my intention. I was just trying to get to as close to his back bumper as I could to hopefully have a good cycle and have a better pit stop and come out in front of him and control the race from there. So just upset more than with myself. Even if he did slow down early, I still should have not pushed that hard. So just a bummer, and hopefully his team can recover from it.
The good news is you're already locked into the championship 4 with your win last weekend, but how do you keep this from killing the momentum you guys had?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think we had a great car today, so speed-wise, that was good. The second stage kind of got away from me, and I lost control of the lead there. Would have loved to be able to win that stage and restart in the lead for the final stage, and none of this probably would have happened. So, just got to learn from little mistakes, and little mistakes just kind of compound throughout your whole race, and then you end up in the care center because of it.
So you hear the frustration in Kyle Larson's voice. Again, they continue to clean up that entrance to pit road with a red flag condition. But with that, right now, as the points stand, you have the 11 of Denny Hamlin as the race leader. So if he could continue on in that role, which we know he won't because they're going to come to pit road, but whoever wins this race could get an automatic bid to the championship 4.
Yeah, well, I feel it's going to be a playoff car. While we do have some non-playoff cars up there, I think Byron's right there. Blaney's had a great car. We see the 11 up there. I think Kyle Larson had a pretty good assessment of what happened there. I think we're the same way. We don't know who was too fast or who wasn't, but the simple fact is you're chasing another car on the pit road, so I put that mistake on the 5 of Larson. I do agree with him. They brought great speed here, but the Blaney car is the one that really has amazed me. He kind of jumped up on the radar back at the Coke 600 and won that race. I just didn't see this style of racetrack kind of fitting the Penske Fords. He was good in practice, and he's been good all day today. And now a little bit of luck to go with a solid race car. Maybe today's the day for him.
Still 51 laps to go. Drivers, as the yellow flag has come back out, do you see anybody challenging either Hamlin or Blaney for the win of this race?
Well, when you see the favorite go out like we just saw Larson do, everybody in this
this field sort of noticed that, and they all think, man, now I got a shot. Because when we come to Homestead, we all assume that Larson is the man to beat. Well, now he's no longer in this race. We know the 12's leading the race and running well, but this really opens it up confidence-wise for a lot of drivers. And now we're getting late in this race where everybody's got to start pushing it. You might have been a little conservative, maybe not running right against the wall all day long, trying not to hit the wall, trying to take care of your car. Now you're going to have to go out there and push it to the limit. And who can do that and do it well without making the big mistakes?
And what kind of race do we get, right? So in 4 of 6 final green flag runs on 1.5 mile tracks this year, it's been 20 laps or less. So are we going to get a rash of cautions? Are the cars that are good takeoff speed, are they the ones going to have an advantage? We don't know, and by the way, they don't know, but I can assure you that what you have to be doing right now is racing hard on this restart to get track position, and of course, that's when we see cautions.
Let's check back in with the Peacock Pit Box as we do a race recap of how we got to this point with just 50 laps to go.
Yeah, listen, this has been exciting. I didn't see that one coming. There's a lot of things that have happened here, but I did not see that coming.
Yeah, and a lot has happened during this, as we saw, and as we go back with the race recap here. This has been basically a Kyle Larson day, although Brad Keselowski was up in there. We've seen different ones, William Byron showing up, and so it's been fun to watch. Get a little action.
See Stenhouse here. He gets in the wall a little bit. The right rear, he spins around. But as we saw, the 5-car of Kyle Larson wins the first stage.
Yeah, and then as they came to pit road to get these cars serviced, you can see a few things going on here. A lot happening with the 11. They lost a little bit of time, like a number of spots with this. You see these guys working extremely hard. Just so much happening with this. And then the racing just intensified on the track.
Listen, man, Blaney, and I agree with everything those guys have said, just said before they came on. Nobody saw Blaney. I didn't see Blaney. We saw him at the 600. This didn't really fit in their wheelhouse. But this is the thing that's going to define the day. We see the 12 car. Larson just said he thought he slowed down a little bit. We saw Larson say, I was being overly aggressive. You had an excellent point comparing the Tuesday.
Well, they're in 2 different situations to where the 5-car is already in and Blaney's being conservative. On pit road, Kim.
And William Byron free in and off. He said the back end just out of the racetrack. It's killing his corner. He did get into the wall a little bit those last couple of laps. You saw that chassis adjustment, 4 fresh Goodyear tires, trying to get him back to where he was in stage 2, Dave.
They asked Eddie Hamlin to be a little bit more aggressive coming into pit road. 4 tire change, fixing a car that's a little bit loose late in the run, Marty.
Welcome back to the top 10. Christopher Bell, after a ton of changes from Adam Stevens. Bell said the car took off way better on that run. Similar to free on exit. Tyler Reddick said he's pretty happy with the long run balance of the 45 as the drag race happens off of pit road. Denny Hamlin will win the race off pit road, but Reddick said the car just gets a little bit too tight at the end of the run, Rick.
Response gained by Kevin Harvick on pit road. A couple also gained by Bell, but it was Hamlin who won the race off of pit road. Again, the 12 can stay out on track to take the lead.
When you have auto glass damage, trust Safelite. My customer really relies on his car's advanced safety system.
You're right. Slow down.
So when he got a cracked windshield, he turned to Safelite. We're the experts at replacing glass and recalibrating your vehicle's camera so automatic emergency braking and lane departure warning work properly to get you back on the road safely.
And that means a lot.
Schedule now.
Safelite repair, Safelite replace.
I want a Sunday.
When it comes to the wrong mattress, you snooze, you lose. At Ashley, we've got you covered with top mattress brands at winning prices. And you can snooze now and pay later with 0% interest for 60 months. Make every snooze count. Shop in-store or online today.
What causes a curve down there? Is it Peyronie's disease? Will it get worse? How common is it? Can I talk to? Can this be treated? Stop typing. Start talking to a specialized urologist because it could be Peyronie's disease or PD. It's a medical condition where there is a curve in the erection caused by formation of scar tissue, and an estimated 1 in 10 men may have it. But PD can be treated even without surgery. Say goodbye to searching online. Find a specialized urologist who can diagnose PD and build a treatment plan with you. Visit makeapdplan.com today. Martinsville. Isn't it charming? But don't be fooled. This half mile of mayhem is looking to rob 4 drivers of their championship dreams.
It's a must-win situation. Unbelievable!
Time is now, boys.
He's won his way into the championship.
Tick, tock. The NASCAR playoffs continue at Martinsville on NBC.
And what will you do to make it to the championship floor? Again, next week, it's Martinsville, and the field gets cut in half from 8 playoff drivers down to the championship floor. And of those 4 drivers, whichever one finishes ahead of the other at Phoenix is the champion. And we look at the playoff standings with Blaney as the race leader. You see him under Larson, who has a win already from a week ago. Byron and Hamlin above the cut line. Bell, Truex below the cut line, right around that 16 to 18 point mark. And then Reddick back there, 28. Busher really in a must-win situation, 59 points out.
And Christopher Bell's going to restart 6th. Truex, after that reset, Steve explained it, he's going to probably start somewhere around 20th. Reddick, you saw him come off pit road, almost kind of wrecked, lost several spots on pit road. So every point matters, and several guys are having challenges.
And Truex is 20th, to your point, Jeff. He's 20th in the running order, but on the racetrack, because it's a wave-around car, I mean, you see it, you're on board, Truex. You don't see cars in front of you because you're getting ready to see the entire field or some of the field. There's a few other wave-around cars. My point is he won't be the 20th car in line on the racetrack. He'll actually have lap-down cars in front of him, making the challenge more difficult. How about Kevin Harvick? I know he said his name a lot at the start because the race is named after him, but here he is inside the top 5.
And as the race gets toward its conclusion, these final restarts intensify. Watch the pushers in row 2, who can be the best pusher to try to help the car in front of them get down into turn 1 and maybe either get clear and try to take the line away from, if Denny can get a great push from this 4 car, he could drive down into 1 clear and take the line away from the 12, vice versa. That could happen on the top lane. Blaney gets the lead and clear off the 2, so that's important, getting that great push.
Only
46 laps to go. Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin on the front row for what could be the final restart of the night. Green flag back in the air for the 12 as he's in the outside lane. Hamlin didn't get as much of a push from Harvick, who didn't take off very well into the first turn. Blaney is going to go up the racetrack a little bit, having a bit of a mistake. 4 wide behind him for position. Denny Hamlin to the race lead. And Christopher Bell up to 3rd will dive to the inside of the 12 car of Ryan Blaney. Still 3 wide out of the rear view. Hard hit for the 15 into the inside retaining wall. Multiple cars are spinning on the back straightaway. Heavy damage on the outside of the racetrack for Ross Chastain, and we're under caution quickly once again.
J.J. Yaley making hard contact in the 15 with the inside wall.
And that is the break Truex wanted. Right, so all these cars are damaged down here, but that is a break Truex wanted because now he can go line up right with the cars that are on the lead lap with him.
That might be the first good break he's got in all the playoffs.
John Hunter Nemechek in the 42 also involved. There we see the AMR safety crew to these drivers. And window net's still up for John Hunter Nemechek. That's J.J. Yaley, and you see the extensive damage to the front of the 15.
Junior, you talked about it. Intensity is going to pick up on these late race restarts. Everybody pushing a little bit harder. We saw Chastain in it. He was one of those wave around cars along with Martin Truex and several others.
John Hunter. Yeah, I was going to say, it's hard to tell. Yeah, hard to tell with the visor down. It looked like John Hunter.
So a break for Martin Truex Jr.
How about that restart, Jeff? You mentioned the 12. I couldn't tell if the 12 had an issue. The 11 had the best corner, but it was the 11 come off turn 2 with a 5 or 6 car length lead.
Yeah. Blaney drove in the corner, just got really slow in the middle of 1 and 2, and Hamlin just took advantage of it. And I'm not so sure without that caution that Blaney wouldn't have also lost second place to Bell.
I gotta wonder, we talk about these bodies on these cars not being quite as, vulnerable to aero, but there was some contact with the 5 car on the pit road, right? It bows that right rear quarter panel out somewhat on that 12 car, and I wonder if that's catching a little air. Or maybe there's even damage underneath, right? Maybe something we can't see. We know how sensitive the underneath is, because there was definitely contact. Let's see right here what happened. You see the 1 car top of the screen, 42, the 15 on the bottom of the screen.
A lot of cars in the same spot, 3 wide, 4 wide, just not so sure if everybody knew. See right there,
42 into the 6, the 6 into the 1, turns the 1 sideways. And they all, big contact for Brad on that outside line.
And John Hunter Nemechek in that 42 car, that's the first time he's driven that car this year. So, working with a new spotter, maybe a little bit of communication.
I can concur. It gets tight off the turn 2 on these late restarts.
I was waiting for that.
You got referred me yesterday, aren't you?
See, he got his hands all the way off the wheel. Has to keep from the wheel jamming his wrist, breaking his thumbs. And when all this started happening, a little bit of contact,
The 9 and the 19 had a little slight contact with the right front, Marty.
Yeah, Brad Keselowski and Martin Truex Jr. coming down pit road. Keselowski had actually pitted the last time, and so that's why they were so far back on the track, and that's why they also got into that wreck. So they're going to pull the right front fender and left front fender here for Keselowski. See, how about this call by James Small? Putting on a set of sticker Goodyear tires here. We'll see how much of an advantage that gives them. That will leave them 1 set left today.
Yeah, and the set you just took off has probably so few laps that they can probably put that back on if they need, but I love it. You got to keep swinging. Points are still available.
Martin Truex Jr. had restarted because of the wave around behind numerous cars. And so now with this caution coming out so quickly, he'll be able to get back in line with all the lead lap cars after this accident has happened. 4 cautions already today for Miami.
Under caution now for the 4th time today. Back-to-back yellows off of this most recent restart with 46 laps to go. Denny Hamlin has grabbed the race lead away from Ryan Blaney on that most recent restart. Blaney still sitting in second right now. He'll have another shot of it on the front row. It'll be interesting to see if Denny Hamlin's going to take either the inside or the outside lane for this next restart, because he was on the bottom, got to the lead the last time. The outside lane has been probably the more preferred lane through all 3 races at the track so far this weekend. I don't know. We'll see. Gregory Hunt, thanks for tuning into the stream here late. Easy Network also, thanks for tuning in. Jerry Fasnat, thanks for watching. Mark Witkowski. And many others. Appreciate it, everybody. Tuning in for this live commentary stream. Seth Thomas, thanks for tuning in. Got just under 200 concurrent viewers watching, 94 likes on the stream. Be sure to hit that like button if you guys have not done so yet. Our goal is 150 likes for today's stream, per usual for these live commentary streams. So be sure to hit that like button so we can get to our goal of 150. And also subscribe for more daily NASCAR content to help me achieve my goal of commentating real NASCAR races in the real realms of NASCAR outside of just this YouTube channel. Appreciate everybody who has subscribed to the channel and tunes in every weekend for these streams, or even during the week for other streams as well. It has definitely been a fun ride, but try to get to 5,000 subscribers here before the season is out. We have 2 more race weekends left after this weekend, and we have right around 200 subs to go, so definitely be sure to do that. Up to 100 likes now this year. Let's keep that running up, ladies and gentlemen, as we are down with right around 40 laps to go in the race.
will restart it inside that top 5. This race named for Kevin Harvick, the Forever 400, thanks to Mobil 1. Because Kevin Harvick is retiring at the end of the year, he'll be a broadcaster in 2024. He wrote a letter to Josh Berry, who has been tagged as taking over the 4 ride, and here's him reading it.
This seat you're about to sit in, it's a seat that comes with perceived expectations. One where people will write your story before it's even written. I've been there before.
So are you ready for this race?
Is SHR making the right decision?
They'll call you my replacement, say you're filling my seat, comparing you and me. But the truth is, they've got it all wrong. Because the number 4 requires more than simply filling a seat. It requires someone to take the wheel and carry on a legacy. A legacy not defined by wins alone. One that can't be taught or bought, but a short track mentality that takes a true racer's blood.
I love that he brings that short track mentality.
This team was built intentionally, and now we're moving forward purposefully because you aren't just some guy filling this seat. You demand what the 4 requires. You built quietly, but brilliantly. Resilient in the face of obstacles, calculated in your approach, fierce as a competitor, there when it matters. How could we not notice? You're the racer for this ride. As my chapter closes and you take the wheel, I'm leaving you in the best hands I can, with the best advice I have. Do things your way, but realize your team is your foundation. Perfection is in the details. Set expectations. Grind every lap. Make this seat your own and don't apologize for it. Even when it seemed the path was chosen for me, I did it my way. And whether people cheer me or boo me, that unapologetic attitude is what made me. And in many ways, probably saved me. You're joining an organization that embraces that racer's way. One that doesn't take any shit.
I'm gonna bust his ass.
The only expectation in SHR? To win. I've had some of the best moments in my life in the 4. Heck, he gave me a championship. But it wasn't by chance. This entire team worked their ass off. My hope is the 4 is as good to you as it's been to me. Remember, you're in control now. Demand the standard, take care of your team, and the 4 will reward you. Josh, the wheel is yours.
It was this racetrack back in 2014, the first time that Kevin Harvick and Rodney Childers had been paired together at Stewart-Haas Racing. They went on to win the championship back in 2014 as Kevin now puts a close on this final chapter of his racing career before he becomes a broadcaster next year. Josh Berry will take over this ride, but a Hall of Fame career for what we have seen out of Kevin Harvick.
Well, yeah, an amazing career. I'm excited to see him in the broadcast booth. I think he's going to do a great job up there. Always has great perspective and always has a real opinion. And I think that's important for this job, to be able to give his opinion. And no one better than a guy who has won the championship and a guy that has won 60 races, right? So when he has an opinion, competitors may not love everything he has to say, but I guarantee it's, has a lot of experience behind it.
Kim.
And I talked with the team this morning, and they told me what a special week it's been with that paint scheme. Budweiser back on the car. That's the scheme he won this race and the title with in 2014. And crew chief Roger Childers told me, same driver, same crew chief, same car chief, some of the same engineers, the same shop foreman. So it was a very, very special week. They took lots of pictures. We saw how he was honored with the title of this race, how he got to choose the dignitaries for this race. And you can never count him out here, guys, because he has 10 top 5 finishes in the last 15 races here. Marty currently finds himself in the 5th position.
Kim, Christopher Bell sits in the 4th position. I just asked Adam Stevens, how many changes have you guys made today? He said, I've lost track, to be honest. He said, we have a terrific short run car. He asked, Christopher Bell said to Adam, should we split this in half with 40 laps to go? He said, I don't think so, bud. So Bell is back in the game with a good car on short runs. We'll see if it plays to their advantage.
We're going to talk a lot about the 4 playoff drivers at the front because a win could advance one of those to the championship 4. But Mark Truex Jr. back at 16th, looking at the points, this could be the restart. that gives him a chance again next week to advance. So a lot to watch.
You mentioned restarts. Who's good on restarts? Well, Denny Hamlin. He ranks 3rd on restarts this year. Bell, he ranks 5th. Blaney is 8th. Byron 18th. So we'll see if that trend continues. To come out of 4, there will
38 laps remaining. Blaney again on the outside. Hamlin the control car this time, but on the bottom once again. Green flag back in the air at Homestead. Blaney with a little bit better launch getting into turn 1 this time. We'll see if Hamlin can take control of things on the bottom. Christopher Bell going all the way up to the outside. Door to door for the lead off turn 2. Blaney much better this time around than what he was on the prior restart. Hamlin on the inside. Bell with a big run on both of them. Cuts to the inside. 3 wide for the lead into turn 3 with 38 to go. Hamlin runs up the racetrack. He gets into Blaney. They slow each other down with some heavy side drafting, and Christopher Bell easily has the lead off of turn 4. Byron is going to get to the inside for second. 3 wide into turn 1 for second place between the 24, 11, and 12. Harvick trapped in line in 5th place right behind both of them. Nowhere to go for him. Blaney on the outside, Hamlin in the middle, Byron on the bottom, Bell pulling away at the front of the field. He was outside the top 10, in fact 18th at the end of stage 2, out of nowhere to the lead. And as the battle thickens behind him, he's pulling away with 36 to go this time by. Byron is clear for second. The 11 has been so tight on the 12 that they've just been really having each other slow down so much in the center of the corner with the side drafting. Not only Bell got by, but Byron is going to get by too. Hamlin slides all the way up the track. He gets sideways, almost makes contact with the 12 car again. And I'm sure Blaney not happy that he is not getting a lot of room, and he's getting slowed up by the 11 car underneath. 3 wide again out of the rearview mirror, both the 12 and the 11 between Harvick, Logano, and Dillon. Harvick trying to hang on to 5th place. He's side by side with Austin Dillon. Blaney finally clears Denny Hamlin, throws a big block on the front straightaway to hang on for 3rd. But he's got some ground to gain here in the closing laps as Bell and Byron are now out in front of the field. Great move by Christopher Bell to get to the lead when he did. And now he with the win would move into the championship for the 2nd consecutive season. Bell has had 1 win all year, and it was on dirt at Bristol. Hamlin to the outside, near the wall. Blaney into the middle groove. Byron as well, that middle lane through 3 and 4. Hamlin trying to mount a charge to the back of the 12. Still about a car length spacing between the battle for 3rd between Blaney and Hamlin. Austin Dillon was able to take over 5th from Harvick. I think that's the first time that Dillon has been inside the top 5 all day. Hamlin again to the bottom lane through 3 and 4 to get underneath Blaney. He's not done with this battle yet. Trying to side draft him, looking to stay underneath him as they head into turn 1. Hamlin is going to be easily clear. He sent it going into the corner. Very deep. Blaney with a big run coming back after him. Crossover move by the 12. Blaney on the inside, Hamlin up high. How deep is Blaney going to drive it to try to get back by the 11 car again? Not going to be able to clear him. Side by side, these two have been going after it for 3rd place. But they are easily losing sight of the leaders. Hamlin's in the wall! He overdrove the entry into 1, and he's up against the wall. Hard impact for Hamlin, and the caution flag is out. I don't know if he had a tire cut or what the case was there, but the car went straight into the first turn. Heavy damage for Hamlin, and huge championship implications are coming with it.
Contact for Denny Hamlin. Before the contact, Denny Hamlin 10 points above the cut line. We'll see how this is going to affect this team.
Down the front straightaway. Let's take a look. Off into the corner. Yeah, looks like either the right front went down or something in the steering. The toe link broke. I'm not quite sure, but that car goes straight into the fence. You've seen it sort of jolt. Watch his steering wheel. Watch his steering wheel. See if anything happens there. Oh, did you see his steering wheel jerk out of his hands right there?
It shifted. He went down to shift, too. It looks like the steering wheel.
There was some contact between he and the 12. You wonder if he didn't cut a sidewall on a tire or something like that happened, because in those battles there was contact. Did something get damaged? Did a tire get cut in that battle with Blaney?
Whatever happened, you only see the wheel get yanked out of his hands, Marty.
Denny Hamlin with a steering issue, and his teammate Martin Truex Jr. with an issue as well. This was under green a moment ago. And you can see the oil coming from the tailpipe, Steve. He said it's running rough. It's cutting off. They've asked him to go to page 3 on the screen right in front of him to try and diagnose it. But it looks like the engine for the 19 is not going to live. What a cruel 5-minute turn for Joe Gibbs Racing with Hamlin and Truex having an issue.
Yeah, two with an issue. Bell leading. So you go to page 3 to try to diagnose it to see if there's something you could try to do to limp this thing home. But you see the smoke coming out the pipe, so definitely some sort of an internal issue for the 19 car. And guys, for the 11, it looks like the right front tire on the car still has air in it, sitting right here. Right? It's not on the wheel, so I think you guys both called it, the movement in the wheel. There wasn't really any sparking like it went down onto the car at any point or any of the rub blocks or anything. So something in the steering, I mean, all of these cars have hit the wall multiple times today. It's going to be very interesting to see what Joe Gibbs Racing, Chris Gabehart, and this 11 team finds what was finally the moment to let go. And it might be hard to understand after the hard contact post-failure.
Denny's climbed out of the car. There's Coach on the bottom of the screen.
And you can hear in the background, you hear Truex engine. It's sick. It is not running right at all. Winded that down on Truex's car.
He's going to climb out as well. Marty.
They're done, Rick. Yep. And Truex did say, if I shut it off, I feel like it will not start. And James Small said, shut it off. We're done. And Truex now being pushed back to the garage. What a crazy 5 minutes for this race team.
Well, a year ago, only 2 playoff drivers finished in the top 10 here, and it looked like it was going to be the exact opposite this year. They filled the top 10 other than Buescher, but now it's Bell, Byron, Blaney, 1, 2, 3, right at the other one of the top 10, running 8th.
Truex and Hamlin both will be behind the wall.
Pit road's not been open yet because the 11 car has a wrecker hooked up to it on pit road, so they cannot open it yet. And see, there's going to be some difficult decisions to be made right here.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the leaders with 8 laps on your tires, I think the decision is clear. I think you have to come to pit road here. The question is, farther down, Chase Elliott running 14th was just on pit road. He has a few less laps on his tires. Will someone else decide to stay out? But, I mean, I really believe this track is as hard on tires as Darlington. I think it's a must pit.
You saw Chris Gabehart, the crew chief for Denny Hamlin, just giving him words of encouragement. It's a bad break, but there's another chance next week. We're going to go to battle and go to Martinsville, a place where Denny Hamlin has had success. This is not over for us. He was trying to build that mindset. Look, tough break. You did a great job. Got us in position to win this race. We are not done.
What a swing.
It's a big swing. Bell, Byron, and Blaney. Still 3 playoff drivers. They're running 1, 2, 3 with an opportunity to win their way into the championship 4.
Think about the race that Bell had a week ago, right? Second in one stage, third in the other, finishes second in the race, and was so dejected leaving. Now he has the chance to put that behind him. And here's that decision you talked about, Jeff. I think everyone's coming to pit road. So if that's the case, then it's right back on the pit crew.
Yep.
And William Byron said he's a little tight, but he can drive through. He said, give me a little bit more turn to help my entry. That fire off, though, he said, was much better the last time. They did make a slight air pressure adjustment on those 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Dave.
For Ryan Blaney, can they fix what was wrong on that last restart? Can he get the fire off speed that he needs with his 4-tire change, Marty?
Dave, what an incredible recovery for Christopher Bell. Now can the pit crew deliver and keep them in the lead? Bell very happy with the fire off speed. Meanwhile, Tyler Reddick said, I just need a little bit more long-run speed. I could tell where that was heading. Now the drag race off pit road. Look at that. And William Byron and his team will gain a few spots, Rick.
Yeah, Byron, Blaney, and then Bell. So Bell loses 2 spots on pit road. Hardick holds on to that 4th spot. Logano gains 1 to get in the top 5 coming off of pit road. It was this right here, the 11 of Hamlin, Slamming into the wall in turn 1 brings a caution out, and also Mark Truex Jr. out of the race with an engine issue.
So Christopher Bell's pit crew fails him again in the playoffs as he loses 2 positions, falling out of the lead back to 3rd. Byron wins the race off pit road as his team has done a lot this season. Probably the best pit crew, I think, and most clutch pit crew of the season. Has to go to that 24 team. We've got a couple of heavy hitters out of this race right now. Kyle Larson, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr. all done for the day. Engine failure for Truex there under the caution. Denny Hamlin, obviously the reason for the caution, having some sort of an issue there going into turn 1. Car goes straight up the hill, pancakes the wall hard, and then Kyle Larson hitting the barrels at the entrance of pit road prior to his green flag pit stop as he was coming in a little too hot trying to gain in on Ryan Blaney at the time. It looks like Daniel Suarez has stayed out of the pits, so Suarez is going to be the race leader, it looks like, for this restart. Most of these teams had 2 sets of tires left, so I'm not sure exactly why Suarez is going to stay out. I mean, maybe they're going to hope that the tire difference won't be much, but they ran right around 10 laps, and we have seen 2.5 seconds of fall off over a 25 to 30 lap run, so I don't think that this is going to work out well for Daniel Suarez. And it's not like the Xfinity race yesterday where Sheldon Creed stayed out because there was only 1 set of tires left. Again, a lot of these teams still have another set left, so if we get a caution later in this race, again, we still may see pit stops, but if we don't get any more yellows, this is going to be the final stop of the day. And credit to Byron's crew for winning the race off pit road. If Daniel Suarez does not pit prior to the green flag, again, he will be the leader. He'll be the control car. And I would not want to pick the same lane that he is in, trying to fire off on those older tires. I would probably pick behind Byron and try to go from there. So we'll see how the choose rule is going to come into play. Again, you're listening live to the Forever 400 at the Homestead-Miami Speedway. We'll take a quick ad break and continue our live commentary coverage. Happened to Truex. Truex blew an engine under the caution and started puffing smoke out of the tailpipes. About 250 people watch right now. 114 likes on the stream. Our goal is 150 likes. So once again, be sure to hit that like button. If you guys have not done so already, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Free pass goes to Chris Buescher to get back on the lead lap with this caution coming out, so credit to him. He's in 23rd, still hanging in there on the lead lap, trying to pick up as many points as he can. Still more than likely going to be in a must-win situation the rest of the way, but we'll see what he can do. Chase Elliott's moved up to a race-high 12th place position with all the carnage happening around him. A lot of the heavy hitters, as I mentioned, starting to drop out of the race all of a sudden. We still really don't know if Blaney's car is hurt from that damage from Larson from behind. It definitely doesn't seem like it's been firing off as quick, but I don't know how much of that was Hamlin. Of course, side-drafted Blaney quite aggressively there, but even then, I mean, Blaney was able to clear him, pull away by a few car lengths, and Hamlin reeled him back in quickly again, so I don't know that 12 car is exactly as fast as it once was. And it looks like Daniel Suarez did hit pit road a little bit later. So Suarez did hit pit road. So it will be Byron and Blaney on the front row for this restart.
You're a playoff driver. Field now behind Byron and Blaney. Blaney in the
25 laps to go. We had a 23-lap green flag run to the checker in the Xfinity race yesterday. This is going to be eerily similar in the laps department. Green flag back in the air. Harvick still in contention on the inside of Road 2. Logano trying to throw a block on Bubba Wallace on the outside lane into the first turn. They're 3 and nearly 4 wide again. Hamlin and Byron door-to-door for the lead. They had a good battle for the lead at one point at the beginning of Stage 3. Now they're back up to the front again. Bell having a run similar to what he had before. He's going to go to the outside. Hamlin out of the race. So obviously not in contention anymore. Same with Larson, 2 of the faster cars of the day. It's left between Byron and Blaney with a championship 4 spot on the line. Still door-to-door for the lead. Byron sends it off into 1 and 2. He's going to clear Blaney. Blaney with the undercut move. Going to try to get back underneath the 24 car. Byron with a low line off the extra of the corner. Blaney trying to beat him to the outside. Zigzagging down the back straightaway as Byron blocks Blaney. And William Byron has the lead at Homestead with Bell and Logano just close behind. Logano coming out of nowhere to get to 4th place in this one. Bubba Wallace back into the top 5 for the first time in a while. Blaney's got company from underneath him now as it's Christopher Bell to the inside of the 12, as the 12 just doesn't seem to be nearly as good as he once was. Not able to keep up with William Byron in that outside lane through 3 and 4. Bell's going to be clear to move into 2nd off of turn 2, sorry. And headed into 3, we'll see if Bell can have a run at William Byron. Of the drivers at the front of the field, really only Blaney and Byron have been in the top 5 all day today. Wallace was very, very early in the race, and now he's back into 5th as mentioned. Bell had closed in on Byron that last lap. Even with passing Blaney, he was still a 10th quicker than the 24. This thing is not over yet. Bell's going to put up a fight on the 24 car. And how aggressive of a fight will it be? That maybe it gives Blaney another chance, but I just don't think that car is 100%. I think the fender might be hanging out a little bit too much over that right rear, maybe creating too much drag. And it is definitely slowing the car down. Byron just trying to mimic the line Christopher Bell's running, it looks like right now. Both going to the inside. Leaving the top wide open. Top 3 cars within 0.8 of a second of the lead. Bubba Wallace just passed Joey Logano for 4th. That last lap as well. He's 1.2 seconds off the lead. Bell to the bottom. Byron to the outside. That's going to allow for Byron to maybe pull away from Bell just a little bit off turn 4. 20 laps to go at Miami. Bell back down to the inside line again. Byron a lane off the inside. Maybe Bell doesn't feel his car handles well enough to run the top. He's not losing Byron by a lot, but he's going to have to be able to run the top effectively if he's going to want a chance to run down the 24. Runs the middle groove through 3 and 4 that time. Byron all the way up near the outside. Bell seemed to have closed the gap there. He was 0.2 quicker that last lap. A lot of that ground was gained in 3 and 4, so despite not running the outside of the racetrack, Christopher Bell is closing on William Byron. Blaney's fallen to a 2nd off the race lead now, and Wallace is starting to close in for 3rd. Bell and Byron, 2 to 3 car lengths is the difference into turn 3 with 19 laps to go. Bell to the middle lane. Byron kind of started a little bit wider than cut to the center of the corner in the middle, trying to get more dirty air on the 20. Byron gaps Bell by a car length or so off of turn 4. The dirty air game is really what Byron's kind of playing here at this point. Either one of these two consistently trying to run the outside. They're changing their lanes quite often. Byron more than Bell has been running that top groove of the racetrack. Bell again about a lane lower than William Byron through turns 3 and 4. Trying to carry overall speed. It does seem like Bell's slightly better in 3 and 4 consistently versus Byron, even with Byron running a slightly wider lane. Now Bell goes to the outside through 1 and 2. Byron goes to the bottom. How much speed is Bell going to carry down the back straightaway this time? He gets a great roll off turn 2. He's going to have a run at him. Down the backstretch, Christopher Bell is going to look to the inside. Byron's going to give it to him. No, Bell back to the top. He's going to fake. He's going to wait to make his move. Both cars now towards that outside lane through 3 and 4, but not all the way against the wall this time. Bell had a pretty good run. Thought he was going to try to take the lead away from Byron. Will he have another opportunity just like that? Bell to the inside. All the way on the white line. A lane off of it for William Byron. Byron maybe slightly better through 1 and 2 than Bell, but Bell did a great job that time, and he's trying to create another run. What lane will these two cars go into this time into 3 and 4? Lane off the wall for Byron, and a lane off the bottom for Bell. Byron gets tight off the exit of the corner. Bell to the inside, side by side for the lead, 15 laps to go. Door to door, racing for a win and a championship 4 spot between Christopher Bell and William Byron. Bell below the cutoff line coming into the race today. Will probably need this win more than the 24. Bell slides clear off turn 2. Will Byron try to undercut him into 3? He's got to run on the back straightaway. but he doesn't seem to have the momentum to carry it into the corner as deep as Bell took it. And now through turns 3 and 4, Christopher Bell will hold on to the race lead with 14 laps to go.
And behind them, Tyler Reddick has run Blaney down. Blaney's struggling with this race car. Tyler Reddick, 10 points out right now of that last spot in the playoffs. Every position is going to matter.
As they run, you see the points on the lower left of your screen. Bell as the leader. Right behind Larson, who's already won. Byron, 33 points above the line. Blaney, 10. Reddick, Truex Jr., Hamlin, and Busher, all below the cut line.
Yeah, Blaney came in here 17 out. He's done an amazing job today in the stages. Sits here riding in third. He doesn't have the car that he had earlier since that contact on pit road with Larson, but he's in that high line. That's a great position to be if he can continue to make the time up there. He'll be able to maintain this third position, Dave.
And they had a quick radio conversation. Big picture, you are plus at that 12, now 10. And Ryan said, I'm trying, but yeah, I hear you. So he knows he's good where he is if he doesn't just bleed points and positions from here on out.
I agree. He just needs to stay exactly where he is. Try not to overstep it and get in that wall. Do not cut down a tire right here at this point in the race. Don't push too hard. Even if we have to give up a spot to Reddick, which we shouldn't, I think this 12 car can make the lap time. He might even have a chance to run down Byron in the last few laps. We have seen at this racetrack, on older tires, there will be major differences between the car leading and the guy running him down by 3 or 4 tenths of a second. If that's going to happen for Blaney, it needs to happen quick. He ran quicker than Bell that lap.
Bell, out in front, now 11 laps to go. You heard the spotter. I'll leave you alone. Byron running in the second position. Again, we saw earlier the 11 of Denny Hamlin got into the wall. He's out of the infield care center and with Kim.
Yeah, it's tough day for Denny Hamlin. We saw him get into the wall during that last 15 minutes. He'll talk, and ultimately end up in mechanical failure. Do you think that initial contact with the wall contributed to the problem that took you out?
Honestly, I didn't hear you. But I mean, we tried and it just didn't work out. And unfortunately, for all the sport coach team, they really battled back really well today. And it's a break.
Tough break for Denny Hamlin, who before that incident was plus 11 to the good, now found himself below the cut line.
16 points below the cut line for Denny Hamlin after the wreck.
Wow, Blaney is coming. He is not done. And look at what he's done, Junior. Look at his entrance into turn 1. He was the fastest car by 3 tenths that lap. He is now using every inch of the racetrack.
9 laps to go. Blaney the fastest.
They're giving him the top of the racetrack down here 1 and 2. They are not giving him the top of the racetrack in 3 and 4. So as he does get closer to this 24 car, he'll have to measure and make adjustments on what the car is capable of doing up against the wall in 3 and 4.
Blaney, 2 3/10 of a second faster than Bell and Byron the last time by. Now he goes down.
Yep, you see, he made the adjustment. He knew that if he followed that 24 into the corner, he's liable to hit the fence. So he faded low, run a great corner in 3 and 4 through the middle of the track. Back to the top here. Still 2/10 of a second faster than Bell. Oh, Byron at the racetrack, trying to take that line away. That's going to hurt the Bell car. And that right there allows Christopher Bell to inch out just a little bit.
At 1.1 seconds, the gap now as Blaney goes to the inside of the 24.
He buried that car on the entry to 3 and now draws even to the 24. Byron really struggling here late. You talk about risk versus reward. This is where the 12's got to go for it. Just ship it down in there. There you go. Slide in front of William Byron. Now you got a shot.
Is 7 laps enough? 1.2 seconds is the gap back behind Bell.
That lap, racing Byron, cost him about 4/10 of a second. That is a lot with only 7 laps to go, but I believe this 12 car is the fastest car on the racetrack.
Definitely faster than Bell the last few laps. We'll see if he can get back into that rhythm. 6 laps remaining.
Reddick now to the inside of Byron as well. Reddick showing good speed right here. He's going to do the same thing, dive down into the corner. Blaney ran the same speed as Bell, but remember, he still was completing that pass into turn 1. This will be the first clean lap that he's had.
Top 4 all playoff drivers: Bell, Blaney, Reddick, and Byron. Blaney 1.4 seconds back. Bell putting together great laps. He said that this isn't his favorite track, although everyone has thought that he could be excellent at this racetrack, running right up against the wall. And now Bell decides to go a couple lines down from the fence.
Blaney about just a little bit less than a tenth faster that lap. He's going to make Christopher Bell work for it. He's going to have to earn it.
Less than 5 laps and the gap is closing. 1.2 seconds now for Blaney.
4 laps to go this time by. Blaney is closing, but maybe not at the rate he needs to get to Christopher Bell. Tyler Reddick in 3rd place that last time by was actually a little bit quicker than Bell as well as Blaney, but not faster than the 12 car in front of him. Everybody running up near the wall pretty much all the way around this racetrack now. Blaney a lot closer to it than any of the other cars inside the top 5 positions in the running order as he tries to dig for everything possible to give himself a chance on the final lap to try a slide job maneuver to get by Christopher Bell. But the closer he gets to Bell, if Bell continues to run the outside lane near the wall, Blaney's going to have to deal with more dirty air than what he would the laps before. He's 1.2 seconds off the lead at the line, 3 laps to go, not seemingly gaining enough to give Bell a run for his money. Christopher Bell off the wall through 1 and 2, down a little bit off of it, maybe a lane and a half at the most. And that seems to be the only end of the racetrack that Blaney's able to gain on him. Bell doesn't feel that his car is maybe running well enough to run up near the wall there. In turns 3 and 4, he is running towards the wall, but not all the way up against it. Ryan Blaney definitely a little bit closer, but I mean, it's not even a half a lane difference, really. It's a very minimal difference. Bell gains a lot on Blaney through 3 and 4 that time. Blaney must have gotten a lot tighter. Not sure if he got up into the wall or not. We'll see if he hangs on for second. He's still a half a second ahead of Tyler Reddick. And Blaney just seems to be falling a little bit too far behind now. 1.7 second difference heading into turn 3. And the white flag will be waving this time by for Christopher Bell. 1 lap to go, sponsored by Credit One Bank. A 1.7 second lead for Christopher Bell to try to get his 2nd win of the season and march his way to the championship 4 for the 2nd consecutive year. He won at Martinsville last year to get him into the championship 4 in the elimination race. Well, this year in the elimination race, he doesn't have to worry about anything. As he works his way off of turn 2, he gains another 10th on Ryan Blaney. Blaney almost a full second ahead of Reddick, who might have made a mistake that last lap through 1 and 2. Reddick should be able to hold on for 3rd in front of William Byron. A.J. Allmendinger now into the top 5 in the late going as well. Checkered flag waving at the line. Christopher Bell going to win at Homestead. First career win at the racetrack. Again, his 2nd of the season. Back-to-back years, we'll see Larson and Bell in the championship 4. 2 spots left available with 1 race to go next weekend at Martinsville. The rest of your running order looks like this. Ryan Blaney finishes 2nd. Tyler Reddick 3rd. William Byron 4th. A.J. Allmendinger 5th, Bubba Wallace 6th, Ty Gibbs 7th, Joey Logano in 8th, Eric Almirola 9th, and Austin Dillon finishes 10th. Kevin Harvick 11th, Austin Cindric 12th, Ryan Preece 13th, Eric Jones 14th, Chase Elliott 15th. 16th place finish for Daniel Suarez, Chase Briscoe 17th, 18th place finish for Kyle Busch, Alex Bowman in 19th, Corey LaJoie 20th, Chris Buescher 21st, 22nd for Michael McDowell, Justin Haley 23rd was the last car in the lead lap. Ty Dillon, first car lap down in 24th. Ty Gillen finishes 25th. Ryan Newman, 26th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 27th. Brad Keselowski, 28th. 29th place finish for Martin Truex Jr. He was the first driver of those at DNF. Denny Hamlin, 30th. Ross Chastain, 31st. John Hunter Nemechek, 32nd. Scroll down the screen a little bit. 33rd place finish for J.J. Yaley. Kyle Larson, 34th, Josh Bilicki, 35th, and Harrison Burton, 36th place finish today. Only 23 cars finish on the lead lap in this one. Margin of victory, 1.6 seconds for Christopher Bell over Ryan Blaney. 3 hours, 11 minutes and 54 seconds total time in the race today for a 267 lap, 400-mile scheduled distance finish as we finish under the scheduled distance. Average race speed of 126.24 miles per hour. Here is your race winner, Christopher Bell.
To last year, the walk-off win, wife Morgan coming in for the hug. They got the win at Martinsville when they needed to last year. Today, Christopher Bell delivers at Miami. And a much-deserved hug from the race team. Christopher, how in the world did you and Adam Stevens take a car that was about to go a lap down and turn it into a winning race car?
I've got the best team behind me. I just, honestly, I don't know, man. That race is a whirlwind, and I was ready to throw the towel in there in the second stage, and I got really frustrated on the radio, and Adam kept after it. Adam, Tyler, Williams, the guys back in the shop are, working over the adjustments, and they gave me what I needed. Whenever we got some clean air, this thing was really good, and just, I cannot say how proud I am to be here with our partners, with Reem and DeWalt, driving these Toyota Camrys. I've been with Toyota since day one, so thank you everyone that supported me. This is better than a dream come true.
Rick Christopher Bell will now race for a championship under the banner of Joe Gibbs Racing.
And he will also head to Ruoff Mortgage Victory Lane for that celebration.
We had 9 different drivers lead at least one lap today for 26 lead changes. Christopher Bell led just 26 laps in today's race to get the win. Ryan Blaney, who won Stage 2, led 53 laps. Kyle Larson, who won Stage 1, led the most laps with 96 laps led. Denny Hamlin led 31 laps before his departure to the race. William Byron led 25 laps. Keselowski with 16 laps led were the 5 most drivers with the 5 most laps led in today's race. Pole sitter Martin Truex Jr. Led 10 laps today. Bubba Wallace led the first 9 laps, 9 of the first 10, at least other than Martin Truex Jr. leading the opening lap. And a wild race here today at Homestead. Some drama there down the stretch. That is going to set up a wild finish at Martinsville next weekend for the round of 8 of the playoffs to set up the championship 4. Again, 2 spots still left open. Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson already in with wins at Vegas and Homestead. A win next week at Martinsville could grant you a spot. At least one driver will qualify in off of points. We didn't get to see the actual points outlook for the race, so I'm not sure if they're going to go back to the race coverage from the broadcast or not. If we do, you'll get to see some more interviews, or listen to more interviews, I guess, on stream. While we're waiting on that to take place, we didn't have any major race predictions like we usually would for these Cup Series races for today's stream. The only one I had was picking Tyler Reddick to win. He ends up finishing in 3rd place in this one. Pretty much ran back after the top 10 the whole day. A few guys that were running ahead of him most of the day, Larson, Hamlin, Truex, they ended up having their issues. Chastain, even late, got tracked a lap down, obviously. And he ended up in an incident as well on one of the late race restarts when G.J. Yaley hit the wall hard head on. So he had damage, ended up DNFing, finishing 31st as well. But outlasted them all at least and passed Byron there in the closing laps to get up to 3rd as well, as Byron's car was fading a little bit there towards the end after getting the lead on that last restart initially. We'll take a look at what the fantasy outlook is going to be standings-wise, how my team ended up panning out, and as well throughout the rest of the league. If you are not already in the league, you can join on the NASCAR mobile app or website. Go to the Quick League section at the top of the screen on NASCAR.com and or the top left-hand corner. There will be a tab to click Open Fantasy Live on the mobile app. As you see right here, we'll go to Fantasy Live. Search for KRC League. That is the league name. KRC in all caps, space, and then a capital L on league. I'll put it in the chat real quick. Oops. KRC League. And also be sure to hit that like button, by the way, on the stream if you haven't done so yet. Our goal is 150 likes. We're 23 likes away from there. As we are in our brief post-race show for this one, be sure to hit that like button. And as well, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content down the late stretch of the season. Our goal is to get to 5,000 subs here before the end of the year. 2 more race weekends left after this. We'll go back to fantasy. So Chris Buescher did not perform very well on my team. That's why I had him in my garage. He ended up actually outrunning Hamlin and Truex, obviously with the DNFs for both of those drivers late, even though there was no stage points for Chris Buescher earlier. So I did leave points in the garage. Wish I would have had him in over Hamlin in hindsight, because that was my last start I could use for Hamlin in the playoffs, unfortunately. Might want him going forward, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to use him. I do have that 1 star left for Chris Buescher, though, at least with that. So I guess there's that to be said. So we'll see if he has a good day at all next week. But yeah, I had Truex, Hamlin, scored good stage points, but obviously not a good finish with the DNFs. Ryan Blaney finishes second, good run. 4th place finish for William Byron. 6th place for Bubba Wallace. So pretty good with those picks. And then the bonus points definitely hurt me. Ended up not getting a single bonus point today. I had Larson over Byron. That didn't work out. Hamlin over Truex by 1 position there. Truex ended up exiting the race slightly later. He ran an extra caution lap when Hamlin was on pit road with his issue, so he beat him. Bell won the race. I picked Reddick to win, so that's why I had Reddick ahead. Even though Reddick was outrunning Bell most of the race, great adjustment there for Bell. Again, he was 18th at the end of stage 2 on speed, and that car came to life. Had other drivers get knocked out, capitalized on that last restart, and was able to get the win, despite not being the fastest car today. Chris Buescher had him beating Ryan Blaney. He started deep in the field, but just never really broke the top 15 the whole race. He went straight backwards from his 17th place starting position, ran outside the top 20 and a lap down for most of the day. Didn't get back on the lead lap until those late cautions when he was able to get the wave around. Ryan Blaney ended up obviously finishing second. So, yeah, no points there is going to hurt me. I know I came in this week with the lead on the playoff standings. So this is what the standings looked like coming into this week. I was up ahead with 14.29. Inside Uranus was second in points. He was 22 points behind me with 14.07. Dark Crypto 13.78 was in third. Monster Jam X10 with 13.55 in fourth. And then EC23 was fifth in points with 1,343 points in the playoffs. We go into the live results, and we'll see where I ranked for this week in the league, as well as who won this week. So I ended up with a 6th place finish in the league. I feel a little bit better. And I did beat the guy that was second in points, so that helps. Big win for Monster Jam X10, who was in the top 5 in points. He gets the win this week. 207 points scored for him. We'll see who is on his team real quick, being he did win this week. He had William Byron and Ryan Blaney as well. He also had Kyle Larson, who ended up DNFing, unfortunately. He had Austin Dillon on his team, which is a bold pick, but he ended up finishing in the top 10 and ran top 10 pretty much all race. As you see right there, 8th and 9th in the stages, finished 10th. So that was a bold pick there to take Dillon. It worked out for him. Blaney had the most points total, as well as the 2nd place finish. Reddick had a top 5, finished 3rd. Again, Byron 4th. Larson DNFing was really the only poor pick on the team. He had Wallace in the garage. I can understand why, though, because compared to where everybody else was running at the end of stage 2, Wallace was the worst. But because he did make it to the end of the race, he did end up finishing in 6th as well. Only really beat out Larson, other drivers in his lineup. But Larson leading all those laps, and even though he fell to like 3rd there at the end of stage 2, you would still expect that he would have finished better than Bubba. That was not the case, though, as Larson, as we saw in that final stage, hit the barrels on the pit road entrance for those potential final green flag stops of the day. Bonus points. It looks like he only got 10 bonus points, but still ends up getting the win. The only ones he got was Blaney beating Buescher. He had Reddick over Bell as well, Hamlin over Truex as well, and Larson over Byron. So it seems like a lot of us were in the same boat for bonus picks, and I think that's why I still end up finishing 6th this week. As far as the rest of the top 5 goes, again, 207 points for Monster Jam X10 winning the league this week. Derek Booth is going to finish with 194 points in second. EC23 with 175 points, as well as P-Shat Motorsports. And Nathan Powers, a 3-way tie for third at 175. And then again, I had 171 in 6th. I want to see who inside Uranus. He had 152 points, had a 22-point lead over him. Add 19 onto that lead. So I will grow the lead out a little bit, or at least over him. And then Monster Jam X10 outpointed me by 36. I didn't see exactly how many points he was behind, so let's take a look at that again. Let's see, playoffs, he was 4th, 13.55, out points by 36, I said. So he's only going to be, if I do my math correctly, I think he's going to be 36 points out of first. So he is definitely back in it. That was a big win for him this week. He's going to be 36 points back. I think he's going to move to second because Dark Crypto did not have as many points as him. So I think Monster Jam X10 is going to move into second place. And I'm going to have a 36-point lead if I'm doing my math correctly, give or take. And then Inside Uranus is going to be just a couple points behind him. I think he's going to be outscored by 19, 22-point lead going in. So he's going to be 41 points back. So going to have a 36-point lead, I think, over Monster Jam X10, and then a 41-point lead over Inside Uranus. It's going to be a very tight finish here. These final 2 races in the Fantasy League this year for who gets those tickets. That's going to be fun. Be sure to hit the like button again on the stream if you haven't done so yet. At 133 likes. I don't think we're going to get to our goal. We need 17 likes. If I stayed live for another hour, I think we'd easily get there. But all the interviews ended up moving to Peacock. I do have Peacock, but it would take me a while to sign back in and all that, and we've probably already missed a handful of interviews. Very unfortunate that they were rushed off the air like that. The red flag we had in the middle of the race obviously kind of postponed things a little bit. So they went past the scheduled airtime by a couple minutes. We got the interview with race winner Christopher Bell, but that was it as far as the interviews go. Buddy R, thanks for tuning in there in the late going. Sanjay, thanks for tuning in as well. Endangered Sense YTYBJL. Thanks for tuning in also. Dark Crypto. iRacing 413 and a lot of others. Did not get to shout a lot of you guys out there in the late going of this race. I don't know what we topped at for viewership. I know we were at 250 there at one point, but we'll go into next weekend's races at Martinsville. I'll pull up the schedule for next weekend and give you guys the start times for those streams. Truck Series is going to be off next weekend. The NASCAR Xfinity Series and the Cup Series will be the only races to take place at Martinsville. I'm just going to pull it up on my phone. It's going to be quicker. So let me do that real quick. Give you guys start times for next weekend's live commentary streams. Our NASCAR Xfinity Series live commentary stream on Saturday, October 28th. So next Saturday, 3:30 Eastern Time. It'll be a 250-lap race for their round of 8 elimination race. And then the Cup Series race will be Sunday afternoon. Our live commentary coverage will begin at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, so an hour earlier than today's start. We'll go early so I can give you guys my Championship 4 predictions as well as the actual race predictions, as we usually do for these Sunday Cup Series or just Cup Series races in general on the channel. So again, 1:30 next Sunday. Be right here on the channel for our pre-race coverage for the Martinsville Round of 8 elimination race for the Cup Series. And again, Saturday at 3:30 for the Xfinity side. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in here this afternoon. Once again, like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Congratulations to Christopher Bell for winning here today, and congrats to him for also making it into the Championship 4. See you guys next weekend. If not, I'll see you guys tomorrow night for some NASCAR Thunder 2004 career mode action, as we'll be doing that throughout the course of the week leading up to Saturday's live commentary Xfinity Series coverage at Martinsville. Have a good rest of your Sunday night, and I'll see you guys next time.